slow fall into the Indian Sea, where the cold and the hot meet, and the powers that be. As a child again, I wake up a wild one takes me there.
Now you can sit down, make yourself comfortable. Here's what I'm going to say to you to make it uncomfortable.
Tyrant Finder UK.
I'm here to document what the mainstream media doesn't want to bring you, but they don't actually bring you any sort of news.
And I gotta tell you folks, I don't believe what I'm seeing.
Take it easy, friend.
Tyrant Finder UK.
It's the President of the United States.
Tyrant Finder UK.
The price of victory is sacrifice.
If a man has something to say.
Big up Tyrant Finder UK.
The government fully aware of the situation.
It is a strange place.
If we can get this long-range transmission beam to work.
Now we return to the regular news items prepared for this broadcast.
Good afternoon. How are we? That was a bit... I tell you what, one day I will get this whole live streaming, editing, you know, stuff together whereby I just hit the play button and everything will work, because for about 2 minutes of that, I believe none of you had sound, did you? And you were just watching a counter go. And then I realised that you've now got sound. So can you give me a 5x5 to make sure we are actually broadcasting somewhat? Yes, no? I don't know. Anyway, let's say hello to people. There is people there. Title says, what grinds my gears? What is it today? What has today pissed me off for me to come on and air it with you? And I'll bring it up. This is really ground my gears today. Can anyone guess what's ground my gears? Well, let me just play it for you, and I can show you.
Your Royal Highness, how do you think that went?
Well, I nailed it. I did everything right. I nailed it.
And that's what's ground my gears today. Now, by all accounts, I'm a bit late to the party on this one. This has been on the billboard, and Indy did send me a picture there of the Kilburn High Street. Oh, it's gone now. Oh no, it's not. It's in my actual group. It didn't. Where is it? It's somewhere. There's sort of fucking hundreds of messages been posted since. Oh God, I can't find it now. Come on, there it is. There it is. There it is. Anyway, yeah, Prince Andrew the musical. Now, let me just, get this straight in my head, because I can't get this around and into my head. Is you know, this guy is a royal. Yeah. His shit is no different to anyone else, and he paid £10 million to somebody that he's never met before, which is weird. Anyway, that's besides the point. Yet now we're making a musical about him. This is what I see that's wrong in this country, well, in this world. In this world, it's a bit like the old Savile, wasn't it? Why are we laughing and making musicals about this? And then obviously Channel 4's making money out of this. It's absolutely, to me, it's degenerate. I don't know what anyone else in the chat thinks, but to me, that has ground my gears today. Absolutely. Afternoon, Susie. Let's see what people are saying. You know, we shouldn't be laughing about it. For starters, this guy, in my honest opinion, should stand trial for whatever he did or whatever he's alleged to do or have done. Is it an 18? I don't know. Probably not. You can stream it on Awful now, I think, as of 9 o'clock, whenever it came out. It's why are we making fun at degeneracy? Why are we painting a picture that, yeah, we know some people are a bit iffy, but it's all right. It's all right, you know. And then we got this RuPaul Drag Race UK that's being allowed up in London. This was going on this weekend, I believe. And, kids in drag, yeah, fucking absolutely degeneracy. Sorry. Call it for what it is now, people. Don't be scared to be labelled that the first word that come in when you call anything out anymore, you're labelled a racist. No, if you call some of this degeneracy, this wrong, clearly in the eyes of the law and really in the eyes of the Lord, then, yeah, call it fucking out. Don't be scared. Stand on your volition. Wrong. If you feel it's wrong inside you, because we've all got those inbuilt mechanisms that's set for the degenerates that do these sort of things, if it feels wrong inside of you, it shouldn't be happening, call it out. Don't be scared anymore, because there will be people behind you that will stand up for you. The true people will. Like I see now, is too many people around just jumping on a cause because they see it's the next popular thing. It's happening now. If people can't see that's what's not happening, you've got people there. Let's just put it this way. There's too many shit in this world. There is. Someone said in my chat today in Telegram, such true words, right? He actually put, unfortunately, I don't think we are working well enough together, probably due to the distractions to bring it down. Many are waiting for us a savior or are too scared of authority to be any use. Maybe this will change, but I think we have been here before and are being managed. And that's exactly what we are. We're waiting for saviors, right? It's because we were talking about this whole Mark Sexton business and the 2 crime numbers, and they disappear and then the next one pops up, but they're all interlinked, they're all connected to each other, they all know each other. Well, one goes, another one pops up. does their little bit for a few months, then they disappear because the heat's getting too much, so they've got to disappear, and then the next one will pop up and do their little fucking bit. So it's the same thing over and over fucking again. Okay? There is 2 courses of action, right, at the moment that we can actually now penetrate and to make it collapse. And we all know what the other one is, isn't it? 2 ways now. Go into cities, right? What makes me laugh now? We've got this organization which is now is called Not Our Future, right? It's clearly a rebranded of the Together program, right? But yet the first thing they want you to do is register your details on their site so they can get an idea of numbers. Yeah, aren't we trying to fight this by not giving our data away? Let's all to go around. Let's do what the government tells us to do. That if we've got a dispute or disagreement with anything we do, we can protest. We can drop leaflets. We're doing it. Allows us to do anyway. We should be doing, protesting. In my eyes, is all about causing a nuisance. Okay. I got so many intelligent people that's within my channel, and we're all like-minded. We all see it. All right. I'm not going to give names. It says I've always been an independent guy. Right from the start, I knew that Mark Sexton bringing all the complaints under one number means the system can dismiss multiple things at once. Same with crowd protesting, all get steered away from the goals. My way was to have a small number of multiple groups to protest. That way, it won't go away. What I'm saying is everyone do their own thing at the same time. That should overwhelm the suppress. So, you know what I mean? It's all about these things. Let's all get under one fucking caveat, innit? So, yeah, the likes of Mark Sexton, I called you out, it's another one. I got to say it. Truth Pill Danny. Who the fuck are you? Really? You go to hotels, right, that you really know nothing about, that there's plenty of other people that have been on this longer than you, yet you're going out calling them UN soldiers, this, that, and the other. You have no fucking clue. I think it's just another one, you pop up because another one's disappeared. You just jump on the next popular thing. The last thing was the drag queen. You haven't been anywhere since the drag queen when you popped up with your folder saying I used to hunt paedophiles. Yet I watch hundreds of paedophile hunters, and I've never seen you on any of those sort of groups. Never. Calling them UN soldiers. Come on. What is a UN soldier? Come on. Anybody know? Anybody in the chat can tell me what a UN soldier is? Because anyone that serves in the anyone who serves in the British forces is potentially could be a UN soldier. It's a beret. Like many of the regiments wore when they went to Bosnia. They went in under the UN flag. So all you're doing is putting that out to people's fears. That's all it is, isn't it? Let's play on the fucking people's fears, because that's what gets us fucking the money. Because the bigger picture on immigration and migration is far worse than the optics that is being put in front of us on a daily basis. Okay? The 40,000 that have come in is a drop in the ocean to what net migration we allow illegally a year. You know, it's the 1 point some, for 500,000, they let in last year legally through visas and this, that, and the other. But we all probably see that's probably a little bit more than the official numbers. We need to stop it and make up our rules for it. That's what we need to do. We need to impose the rules like Australia has, their visa system, their migration system. Yeah. But it's not going to happen because, like I said yesterday, there is no money to be made off your own people. But do they? Jason, they say they probably want those immigrants to police climate lockdowns, right? Where's the proof? Where's the evidence? It's just fear campaigns that they're spreading these people. They want you to follow them because it boosts their ego, what they have, because clearly it's not what I feel is the right agenda at all. It's no army. Martin Carson, why are we all silly? Are we silly or what? Why are you saying it? Because people are saying UN soldiers, but nobody's showing any fucking evidence of it, are they? They're here for freebies only. You can clearly see it by the multiple TikTok pages, Facebook posts, Instagrams, and everything you see on the net. Right. So, Martin, there is women and children. Granted, there is limited women and children. They don't place the women and children in the same hotels because there is a hotel in Bristol that I haven't been to because, well, I have, but it's full of just women and children. Okay, so there are. So again, show me the evidence that they are UN soldiers, and yet, if they were going to amass a fucking army, I'm sure, to turn on the people, I'm sure they would, they would do it in a more secretive way than what they're doing. People's paranoia. It's people's paranoia. Yeah, evidence. It's evidence. I've been to multiple hotels, multiple. Some of the hotels that I've been to were before even the migrants were just about to arrive. So there was no sign of like anything suspicious. And mind you, I was a fucking soldier once. I would spot military activity or what I thought would be military activity in a heartbeat. And then doing stupid things like going to hotels and actually lying that you're an Amazon driver to go inside the hotels. At least have a bit of bollocks and just walk into the hotel rather than lying, because doing stunts like that will get it stopped. And it get, oh, this is what it might be for, actually. Doing stupid stunts like that, going in there pretending you're an Amazon driver, going in, actually putting a video out prior with the intent of pretending. So, you know what I mean? It's a bit, is that not, to me, that's a bit of a stupid way, because you're going to go there and that's going to be classed as harassment. Clearly, because you're not an Amazon driver. And you wasn't going there to deliver packages, right? So at least go there and don't lie about it and say you're there to get a story and put the truth out there. Or is it just to get it shut down, get people who put the information out there to get it shut down? You're right, Brent. Well, people, you know what I mean? It's actually, well, yeah. But they will put them in a uniform of sorts. How can 160k police force enforce 30 million households in lockdown otherwise, huh? Well, again, lockdown, these lockdowns, you know, is just, there's no evidence shown about lockdown. We just see, you know, take Bristol, for example, my home city. I practically live in a 15-minute zone already, whereby as soon as they impose the ultra clean air zone, you're sat here now thinking, oh, I really need to go into town, or do you know what? I really need to go to my parents yet, because that means crossing into the congestion zone and having to pay the £9 just to cross through it for the privilege. You start questioning whether or not it's worth traveling. So you just travel with inside your own community, don't you? So this lockdown, climate lockdown, people have been self-lockdowning now for ages, haven't they? You just imagine how often do you people really travel any sort of distance? Put one in the chat. If you travel 30 miles or more on a daily basis around your local area. Or how often would you go out of a 30-mile radius of your... I don't know how long it would actually take you to walk or drive 15 minutes, whether or not, you know, so how long, you know, how often do people go out of that, you know, their sort of areas? I bet not many, if you actually come to look at it. Because most people already, you know, when they live in an area, they try and find a job or get a job as close to their home as possible, don't they? So we've all been like self-locking down and colonizing our areas ourselves. You know, unless you leave your area, and I wouldn't say. What is it I think they want for them? I don't know. It is about me. I honestly think they want more people centralized into cities whereby they don't want people in rural communities. They don't want people to own land. It is all about owning things. It is totally about owning things. This is the Agenda 2030. Own nothing and being happy. That you can be self-sufficient within 15 minutes of your own needs. You know, why you need a car? Well, why own a car when there's a perfect system in place for you know to travel? It's totally all. It was never about. It was always about control and IDs, isn't it? I've been identifying people. It's a CCP model. That is now. Brave New World, Jesus Jones. You watch it. We've all seen those films, isn't it? Brave New World. Good film. Taking, was it Thelma? We'll all be popping Thelmas, won't we? I don't know. That's what you know. I did active. Thank you. Active. What do you... Are they UN soldiers? Come on, you've got to call this out, mate, because they're not. It is an invasion force as such, but they're certainly not soldiers. And I think it's tarring the pictures of all the good that people are doing, that people call out that it's UN soldiers, and it undoes the work. Like people, you know, I might not see eye to eye on you and everything, mate, but, you know, you put it out there, it paints the work that you've done and other people have done previous, regardless of whatever people think of it, it paints it in a bad light. And you've got to admit that. All right? If people start saying they're UN soldiers, that give the lefty media everything they want. Oh, look at all these fucking far-right activists. It's the picture that people are portraying that angers me. They are, I'm not saying they are not a fighting force or able not to fight. They are fighting age men. They're healthy. Yeah. Are they trained? I'm not. You got to remember our culture and the way we live our lives and the way we conduct ourselves is completely different to how a lot of these conduct themselves and how they lived and what they've seen in their own countries. Yeah? So that's the problem, is the integration. But we need to stop saying they're UN soldiers. I've seen UN boxes. I've seen this from the UN. I've seen that from the UN, because it's not painting a good picture. There was I always said, look, there was always how you portray it is very important. Very important. Two secs. I didn't make a drink. I mean, my missus is like...
Typical fucking blue.
I am.
Can't do nothing wrong.
I will. Hang on, I got to make sure it's the real AP first. Swift, could you click on the three buttons at the end to make sure it clicks over to Active's channel? It does it? Yeah, it does. All right. I had to make sure because I'll send him the link then. Active, I'll send you the link on Twitter. But give me a minute. I'll make a drink. So I'm going to play some music. So give me a minute. Add source. Background. It's taken ages. I might have to refresh the screen. There we go. Right, there you go. Turn your mic on, Chris. That would help. I did have a bleep. There is active. There he is. Let me just bring that. He's backstage there. Let me bring that screen into there and that one up there. So he's that big. Hello, active.
All right, mate. Am I on?
Yeah. You're live. You're live. So
Oh, right, mate. Yeah, I don't know how you work this one. I'm not used to this. No, I won't swear. I've heard someone said about this new rule. If you swear, you can get taken down off YouTube.
No, it's not, mate. It's not. It's down to the monetization. It's all down to monetization. That's it. All right. If if you swear, you run the risk of advertisers wanting to monetize. But I don't worry about that anyway, me. So nice to see that Collington turned out yesterday.
Yeah, the UN soldier thing. I heard you going on about that a couple of weeks ago. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. Can hear you.
Oh, it was a great
we can hear you.
turnout, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, what do you make of the UN soldier business? And mate, you've been to a lot of hotels. I've been
that
to
was all the villages
Yorkshire
in 36 hours. They just they had a meeting, like you say, on Thursday night, and the villagers didn't want to wait a week for a demonstration, so they August 1 within 36 hours.
I think we're getting a bit of a delay. Is anyone else experiencing a delay?
Can you hear me? My internet is terrible. Is there a way of doing it through a phone call?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, if you hang on.
Yeah, no, it's
you
me.
Can,
mate. I think it's my internet. Can you do it through a phone call, or is it got to be the internet?
No, it can be a phone call. Hang on. If you hang on, let me disconnect my Bluetooth for a minute. Bluetooth. Roadcaster. Done. Hang on. And then I'll send you a yeah. If you got WhatsApp, haven't you? If you call me on WhatsApp.
Have you got my new number now?
And then you'll be able to get me.
My other phone got tucked in it, and
hang on a minute. Let me ring this number.
I don't think I had your number stored in my
let me ring this one.
Phone.
Hang on. Hang on. Let me do this one. If this that's not ringing to you, no. Oh no, I could do it this way. Oh fuck that. We'll do it this way. Hang on. Right, come off, and I'll call you through Telegram.
No, that's.
Oh, hang on. Oh, I can't. Fuck's sake. Why can you not?
All right.
Hang on. I've joined that. I've been in there. All right, he's gone. All right, he's gonna find a way. I'm sure it is, because he can call me over by on Telegram on. Got his number because I got a number stored in for him. Well, he might have a new one then. I don't know. Anyway, he's sorting it out. His internet connection. But like I said, it is an invading army. Well, not an army, but it is fighting age men. But my Bluetooth is on. If he's on Telegram, hang on. I got a number for him now. Hang on, I got a number. Active. I called it now. You should have my number anyway. Coffee and text. Paste. Keypad. There you go. I'm calling it now.
Hello.
Hello, mate. It's me.
Oh, that is loads better, mate.
There you go. There you go. There you go. We can start the conversation again. Nice to see a small village of what, 500 residents? Is that Connington? Is it? I don't know.
No. Cottingham is the largest village in the UK. It's Cretan. That's only got a population of 505.
Right. So it's a. So I've never heard of like that place, that Connington place before. So it's a village. It's a town. It's not a town. It's just a village in Yorkshire then.
Yeah, well, it's basically built onto Hull, so it's just a part of Hull, but it's classed as Cottingham. You know, you have your little outskirts like your villages, so it's just on the edge of Hull. So,
what can you tell me? What is the voting demographic of that area?
Oh, it's conservative. It's a population of probably 98% white, probably, but because Thwaites or another student accommodation got taken over, they've had 200 Africans and Iranians put in there already.
See, because I can't understand. I'm not getting my head around it, right? I can only put it up down to the voting demographic of the Bristol area because nobody is even batting an eyelid to what's going on in my surrounding area because all the hotels are like either dotted, a couple in the centre, or they're right on the outskirts of a major city. But I was going to say to try and put them on the outskirts or in the villages where it's cheap rent. You've got to remember, Serco's put that contract out to all the landlords up in the northwest saying, we want your properties. We can give you 5 years guaranteed rent, no utilities to pay, all repairs done, brand new house at the end of it. So basically, you can buy it more. You can pay for my flat in this town, rent it out to Serco, and in that 5 years, that flat's been paid for by immigrants, by Serco, and then you've got a flat for free. Well, this is it, and I said this because when they brought that up at the meeting I attended, it's a done deal. And then I looked into the companies that are buying the hotel, and one company alone, I've found 4 hotels that he's brought, and country houses, and they're all migrant hotels. I think Yorkshire Rose has been to one up at Best Western one, Tor Point or something or other.
Yeah, well, we've got 2 of them guys. We've got Naim Heyman in Skegness in Egyptian. He's the Albanian German descent. He's buying up hotels. You've also got an Egyptian there that's buying up everything that's big and empty there. He drives around in his little fucking Bentley thinking he owns a town. You know, this is how much control they've got over the town when they buy everything and rent it to the government.
Yeah, I found out that the owner's name of Winford Manor, which they purchased for £2.6 million, which was obviously a mortgaged because it had a government contract already in place. So all these deals with these hotels, you've got to remember, when you buy a place, you've got to show the bank that you're able to pay for that place. So these contracts were set up through the Home Office prior to any of these buildings being brought. All right. So basically, it's what they call a cash transaction, isn't it? I go to the bank. I can go out tomorrow, look at a property, right, and think, do you know what? I can turn that into an HMO. Do all the planning, do everything out of my own bank, then go to my bank and go, do you know what? This is a good business venture here. I'll sign it over to the government for the next 5 years. I'll make money. You make money. It's a cash transaction, isn't it?
It is. It's crazy, isn't it? Like you say, everyone just they know what they're doing. Like you say, if you look at all these, you're looking into it. If you look at all these people that are buying up all the old hotels in areas now, look at the names. None of them are English. They're all foreigners. They all know what they're doing and why they're doing it. Yeah, and they're all pro-refugee. If you look at them, they're all against you in your tweets. You know, because they're all going to lose money if we get what the people want in this country. You know, the borders closing because we can't take no more. We are only an island, and it's not racist to say, you know, we need to take control of the borders because in Sheffield, you had an 87-year-old woman attempt to be raped on the field doing a litter pick. Yeah, in Hull, you've got a 79-year-old man robbed at the cash point. Yeah, all immigrants. Yeah, picture the guy from Hull. He's selling fake perfume around Aldi and Hazel Road daily. The guy in Sheffield, he's been caught and remanded. Mohammed. Yeah, this is happening everywhere. In Carlisle, a contractor from the council got an outside contractor to cut the hedges around the hotel because there'd been 3 attempted rapes, but they didn't want the public knowing about it. They got an outside contractor to cut the hedges down.
Well, we had, you know, and I have looked into it, before Christmas, there was a spate of a few sexual attacks in and around the Old Town in Bristol. Now, the Old Town is very, very close, within spitting distance of a hotel. And the descriptions of the person that they put out in the CCTV image look very much like a person that resided. You know, they are, what am I doing it? The media are not putting out the true facts. So they burnt the hotel down. They got placed in the hotel back March last year, I believe. And within the first few weeks, they burnt one of the rooms down. But yet the local rag put out that it's, you know, it was just a fire. All right. And then they try to make out that this person now has mental health issues. Now, I know that we've got a crisis within our own mental health system. How can we take on people that have, you know, have seen atrocities, beheadings and things like this in their own country, and surely we can't take it. Sorry.
Well, look into it, because my sister works for mental health services, Navigo, and they're flying in Nigerian mental health doctors all the time. But what they do, they bring the family with them and all the pregnant children. And you have to look into your area. I think Bristol University is one that may have an on-call midwife in the university because of all the Nigerians that are flying over on student visas that are pregnant. The university, Sunderland, look into Sunderland University, yeah? They have a live-in midwife in the university because of all the Nigerian pregnant women flying in.
They probably, you know, Bristol, I'll have to look into that. They've probably got student midwives at these hotels and things like that on a daily basis for pregnant women. We know they got doctors. They actually get doctors at the hotels. I can't believe it. You can't get a doctor's appointment at your own surgery, let alone at your place. You know, I've only ever had one home visit in my life on my GP, and that was a struggle to get that. There's no home visits no more.
There's no dentist. You can't get a dentist. If you haven't got a dentist, you can't probably sign up, because I know I can't in my area. No. There's waiting list and they tell you to ring back in 6 months. But these places have on-call dentists that will go out of their way and come into these hotels, come into these residents, and they'll deal with them. So how much is that costing the taxpayer every day?
Well, we know, because obviously dental is only limited funded within the NHS, and it's in bands, and you get Band A, Band B, and Band C treatment in it, and it's only to a maximum of £100 and some odd pound. So, they come over, and I just can't get over the fact, right? You've seen TikToks of the guy, traveling over in a boat, and then you see his journey on his TikToks. He's wearing trainers that are £500-600, right? Oh, there we go, yeah. And he's got the TikToks clearly showing he's taking the piss, yet he's freely being put up in a nice hotel by the look of it in Milton Keynes.
But this is it. That these videos are sending out the wrong message to the immigrants, because like you say, they're all seeing these videos and they're all trying to flood here. And it's like when they get here, it is not what they see. You know what I mean? They're locked up in a fucking house, yeah. If they're doing it legally, they're locked up in an house with 200 people for probably up to 2 years until their claim's been processed. Then probably they'll get a flat after 2 years. So it's not all luxury. Some of them, all right, you're seeing pictures of them with a fucking nice food and that, because they're all getting halal chefs. They're all getting the top chefs and the top meals cooked for them. But it's not the picture that some people are posting online, the sports cars. It's only the Albanians that are coming over and they're taking over the drugs and they're taking over. You know what I mean? They're people smuggling on a mass scale to run their cannabis farms.
Well, they're selling the dream, aren't they? That's
Yeah,
what
like you say.
they're selling the dream, and you know what I mean. You see all these people flooding into the country because they know they're going to get, if they are, they get loads of money if they're unassisted, i.e., they don't live in a hotel. They go and live with family that are already here. They get more money, but if they live in a hotel, they do get some money, but not as much as the ones that don't. Because there are quite a lot of the migrants that come into the UK. They actually go and stay with already family members that are here. Because they're doing that in Bristol, because there was one in Bristol that fell off a 16-story building because it caught fire and he jumped out the window, and that was just before Christmas. And it was put out that he only been in Bristol a matter of months is because he came in on the coast in Kent.
Well, this is it, yeah. Well, just fucking hell, I got brain fog then. Just go back to the beginning of that sentence, what you just said, because I had some of the valid points to fucking make on that.
It's how, right, it's, to me, it's how the media portrays the migrants when they come country, right? You've got no real media that's putting out the real truth. They're all putting out that these are repressed people, right? That's the way I'm seeing it. And, you know, and when they come in, they get this money. They get put into they can either go and stay with family, like I said. And the news report that was just before Christmas with the guy that died from the 16-story building is that he was some hard done by refugee and he'd only been in Bristol a matter of months. It's painting a picture that we need to feel sorry for every migrant that comes into this country.
Well, yeah, and the government, the reward bad behaviour, because what we don't realise is the average migrant gets £8 a week spends, yeah. But if you're causing trouble and if you're getting moved to the so-called rough hotels or Napier Barracks, yeah, and the ones on the coast, that you're given £10 a day cash spending allowance if you sign in the book and you come back on time and you do as you're told and you get into no trouble. So by getting into trouble, they get put in maybe a more hostile area, but give them more money to try and say, look, please don't get into trouble. We'll give you more money. We'll give you more things. We'll give you a gymnasium. You know, we'll give you all that time.
I can't see it stopping because, you know, it's been said time and time again, there's no money to be made off your own people. Right? I wouldn't have such a problem. I would have a problem with the migration. And me and you got probably different views of how migration should be handled, but that's a bridge, and you know we've got to sort. But it's got to stop. There's got to be a way now. It's like we can't sustain, you know, the 40,000 that came in, whatever, the 500,000 that came in student wise, right? The net migration into this country is do we have a cap? When do we say we're full? We've got to have a cap, surely.
No, but we haven't, have we? Because, like you say, there is no end in sight while we're signed up to the UN Migration Compact and Refugee Convention, you know, and while the European Court of Human Rights still rule over us, if we're not controlling our own country, and what control have we got over the borders? You know, the border force are fucking all left-wing infiltrated. They want this. They want, do you know what I mean? No one wants to stop this. The border force came out and said, we will not push back. It's inhumane. You know what I mean? So,
now you've got the MOD. So what is the MOD now relinquished? What have they?
Well, they're pulling out control of the sea on February the 1st, aren't they? So it basically goes back to border force, and what that basically means is you're going to get a lot of beach landings, because all they came out for is to stop the beach landings because they didn't want hundreds of unknown fighting age male men. You know, ISIS said they were sending over terror cells. So whether you like it or not, right, this is rape jihad, this is robbery jihad, this is just jihad. Come over and fucking just do what you can to rob and program the country, innit? So it's a form of jihad to me. So it's not UN soldiers, like you said. You going on about the UN, I didn't know about that till the other week. I heard people talking about it, but I never looked into it until I heard you saying people need to call it out. And I was like, what the fuck's he on about? Right? So I looked into it and I'm like, it's not a UN army. It is an army of fighting age men.
Yeah. But it just paints the optics of what people have done in the past. It makes it that you know, oh fucking hell. You know what I mean? It's not. It's a real problem. You know, because you've got to remember, I'm looking at the culture. I'm not looking at anything else. It's what they've seen and how they conduct themselves whilst in their own country to how they're going to conduct themselves in this country. right?
That was it. It's fighting age men, and you've got to remember we brought in Afghan soldiers that was fighting in Afghan against ISIS, but a lot of them was infiltrated. You've got to remember, because I have 2 soldiers in my town that was shot dead by two Afghan trained soldiers. Yeah, that was obviously ISIS, and just trained to turn on the fucking our troops. So although we're letting in Afghan refugees, so to speak, yeah, these are trained soldiers that hate us, yeah, because we've bombed fuck out of their country. So they're ready to turn on us at any moment in time. So it is an army of fighting age men, 100%, but it's not UN trained soldiers, not being trained in hotels. These people have got fuck all to do, and this is why they're going around the street raping and robbing people, because like you say, there's 200 men stuck there. It's like being in jail. You get indoctrinated by people that have done other crimes and have got other scams. So you're all listening to everyone's scams and tribes, and you're all taking it in. And that's where you become a bad person, even worse, because you're learning everyone else's bad traits. You're thinking, no one likes me. We're stuck in here. We're getting loads of bad press. I'm just going to go out and rape and fucking torture you all. You know what I mean?
This is it. But then we had and I think where this whole the UN soldiers, their army and things like that is because I seen a video of somebody interviewing one, and he said he worked with the army. Now, we know a lot of Afghans worked as interpreters for the British Army and for Western forces, and they obviously are not safe in their country. So they've come over as well, the ones that, because some of them we left behind, we didn't bring them all, so they've probably found their way over. So surely now we've got a duty that did help Western forces during the Afghan war. We've got a duty to protect them, because now we don't know which ones we're letting in. Are we letting in old ISIS fighters? Because technically I look at it, the ones that are crossing our border, apart from the odd few, they're running from something. They got some gripe against their own country.
This is it, and anyone can claim, like you say, if they're from Afghanistan, yeah, they can claim to have been a soldier, yeah. Like what reality checks have we got? Because they haven't got these people aren't coming with ID, either, so we've only got their word for it. And like you say, ISIS are sending people over, hundreds and thousands of people. We was at the docks last year. I'm not sure if it was here, you was there actually, when counter-terrorism came, especially on certain occasions when certain people was coming off boats, and they only kept taking pictures of one person out the whole of the boat who we had interest with, and even Cheshire Police came down. So these people, even the police and the forces, know when ISIS are coming in, if they've got them on the radar.
Yeah.
So it's a scary world, isn't it? And like you say, we just need to keep highlighting it. And like you say, you should get down to Cottingham next week, because it's 2 demos, and the first one's going to be fire. I mean, right, no one really knows, but 12 o'clock, the residents are coming out again, but they're going to the university, because that's who's renting it to the government. If it's been put on hold till February, the decision from the university, but we all know they're going to rent it to the government, because it's stood empty for a couple of years, and the amount of money they're going to make from the government. But the university has got an open day next Saturday, where all the new students are going to go and look at the university, but all the residents are very angry. So, and I might go there. I'm not being funny, but we need to keep getting the headlines out there, right? So you've got loads of potential new students coming to Cottingham, yeah? They have not got a clue that they're about to dump 1,100 fighting age men there. So I'm going to probably stand outside that university with a box of maybe 100 rape alarms and say, if you come into this university, you're going to need a rape alarm.
I just feel sorry for other cities that are just doing nothing. Bristol, my own city, it's lost. No one's done anything. You can't, because you just, it's so infiltrated by the left. It's unreal.
Yeah, this is it. You're on your own there, right? You haven't got enough fucking fighting men coming out to fight it, have you? It's a lefty area. It's all like Brighton and shit, isn't it?
Yeah. There is a few, but, they know we're not many.
Skegness are about taking the government to court because they're ruining their coast. It's their seaside. It's a tourism. Yeah, it's their main trade. It's their main profit. And if no one's going to come to the seaside because all the hotels are full of immigrants, then they're all fucking going to go down this year. You know what I mean?
They have, because there were 6 hotels down around Torquay that got rid of all their staff, wasn't there? That's reported.
Yeah, she got made. She got made home. She got made homeless. I spoke to her privately on Facebook and got an interview on Nigel Farage because I put it to someone that knows Nigel, and he went and interviewed her. They chucked her out of their fucking property. That was that guy from Skegness who owns the hotels. That Neyman.
Oh, that old guy.
No, the woman with the family, but the guy that owned the hotel was that Payman. You know, the Albanian.
Hang on. Well, I got another guy. What was his name? I'll find his name now. He's an old guy. Where all those children went missing from the hotel. There's 70 kids gone missing, or by all accounts, from this one hotel.
Oh yeah. Well, yesterday in Cottingham, a car full of immigrants was going past the group, going past us all. And I heard him saying something. We was immigrants once. We was all here illegally once. And I was like, "What, mate?" He's like, "You like a crackhead." I went, "Garlic can't call me a crackhead." And the police fucking moved me on, give me shit, yeah. But it's like, what is that car full of immigrants driving around the village of Cottingham doing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Nicholas Hugenstraten. He was another one. He got hotels, but in one of his hotels, more than 70 children have disappeared from a Hove hotel housing asylum seekers.
Yeah, no, this is it. Well, I know, like you say, when we went to Skeggy, he was trying to escape to Sheffield. He was on the phone to someone from Sheffield trying to get a lift to Sheffield. Like you say, these immigrants, how do we know what was this car full of immigrants won't go into Thwaites Hall to, you know, get a couple of mates out and drive them off? Because we know within the first week of Thwaites Hall opening, that 70 out of the 200 migrants did a runner. He's right next door to the train station. I think the government are like dangling a carrot to the migrants and saying, please escape because it'll cost us less money. A lot, you know, if 30% of all these hotels that migrants are doing a runner and going missing, we haven't got a clue where thousands of these people are.
Well, and you won't get it on a freedom of information request because they won't publish that sort of information because, one, they don't want us knowing, and two, they probably don't know themselves.
Well, yeah, it's a risk to security, isn't it? At the end of the day, the threat level should be at the highest threat level in this country because we lose here.
I don't think it's wrong to say you come to this country and you've got no documentation, right, and you just rock up. Don't expect to have free reign walking around. Because you can't. Because you have a duty of care to protect the citizens that already live here. And
of course you do, exactly.
You know, and all these, I watched the video this morning of this Antifa over in Ireland. They're saying, they've had checks done. I'm fed up of all you people. Go home. And I'm thinking, they haven't had checks done because they don't know who they are. Unless they're on some sort of system and we fingerprint them over here, they're not going to show up over here. We haven't got an endless to all their countries. We don't know where they're truly from, do they? They can say they're from anywhere.
That's it. We have not got any idea anything about these people, and that's the most dangerous thing.
Yeah.
To let be a country is you're letting in people you have no idea who they are, where they're from, and what they're capable of, and what they've done in the past.
That's the thing. The problem I've got is, you know, I wouldn't rock up to a country and be in a think, oh, I'm going to be able to have free reign of this country, and they won't know nothing about me. That's mental. I'll be in jail. Of course I would. I'll be in jail or I'll be in some sort of detention centre.
This thing about the 15-minute city shoes, I heard you on about that, and I'm hearing a lot of people talking about that. You know, what I come across the other day, you know, the new bus system where any ticket, short fare, any ticket, not short fare, one journey will only cost, right? Well, that's designed to fail, right? Because you've got to remember, I went and did a little over in all the other day, so I can't get there by train because we go over the Humber Bridge, so obviously trains can't go over water, so I have to get a bus. Well, it used to cost me a day out ticket, I think maybe £8, so you could go on the bus any time that day. So he said to me when I got on the bus, oh, how many times are you planning on using the bus? You just go into Hull and back? And I'm like, well, yeah. He's like, well, just buy a £2 ticket each way. And I'm like, all right, but I'm thinking about it. I'm looking at the amount of people on the bus, and I'm looking at how much the fuel costs. Yeah, it's designed to fail. And these companies are going to have to shut the services down, so people are then trapped in the town and they can't get out.
Yeah, Yeah.
So my whole bus service will soon terminate because they will not be able to afford big subsidies.
Well, they have to, because if it goes over the Humber Bridge, they got a charge, but they probably pay, a yearly charge, don't they?
Oh yeah, it costs a lot of money to get a big bus over the bridge.
So a £2 fare isn't going to cover really the fuel or the cost of the toll into that journey.
I know, yeah, that's what I mean. It's designed to fail, and it's designed to keep us in their own towns.
Yeah, but if you look at it, active, a lot of people, they don't travel outside 15 minutes outside their area anyway. They go shopping around the corner at the local supermarkets. But we've been locking down in our own areas for decades. But now it's coming where they want full control, where they're saying, right, you are not allowed to go out of this area, or you have to pay, or you have to be this good. And that's all it's down to is if you're it's a bit like China. You look at the CCP, it's a bit like you look at their public transport system. Now, if you're a super good citizen, you get to use their high speed, trains. But if you're probably like you or I, you'll only be able to use a bus. Right. So this is what it's all about, is to put us into the control, is how good we are, is to what privileges we get.
And like you say, cashless society is the end goal, isn't it?
Well, people are saying keep it cash, and all I say is at the end of the day, they've only got to hit a button and say to you, that stuff you got in your pocket is worth nothing, but this is.
Yeah, like you say, it'll be a 5-year thing where they have to tell you and give you 5 years notice to change everything, because systems would take too long, wouldn't they, for every company to just change into a cashless.
The system is already in place.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, it probably is.
The benefit agency's been testing that system for years. It's called the Universal Credit, whereby you've got to log into your account and tell them everything to get your money.
Mental, yeah. When you put it like that, yeah.
So we've been doing all this for years, but now it's come to the point is where, oh, hang on a minute, they're actually saying to us this is what's happening. People are waking up to the fact that it's happening. But I think it's a little bit too far gone, because there's two ways to do it. We either start again and infiltrate them, like they've infiltrated, like we say the left has infiltrated everything. We infiltrate them and make it collapse, but that will take decades. Or two, we fight. That's the only two solutions I see now, because everything we've done to now is, yes, it's highlighted everything, but what really has it achieved? Nothing for us.
Well, it just makes everything comes higher value, though, doesn't it? It becomes a commodity. You have to start trading items in your home for certain things, like drug dealers will never, like you say, if cash disappears, they're going to end up with an house full of electronics, aren't they? Computers and phones.
Yeah, how are you going to, you know what I mean? Look at it. It's down to society. We all know there's drug takers. I'm a smoker. You're a smoker. How are you going to pay for your weed if we don't have cash?
This is it. Everyone's fucked, and before it's happening under your noses, right? And it'll happen before. It'll be too late to do it. You know what I mean? Before it's implemented.
I just don't see any. I can't see any way out of it. I just don't know what to do anymore, and that's what's disheartening, because it's just getting worse on the daily.
There's good, like you said, there's good things going on. Watching what's going on in Ireland with we can fill the activists,
Yeah, I've seen. It's only certain places that are standing up. Then it's going to take everybody to say, well, hang on a minute, this is wrong. Well, we don't help enough of it. We bang on about our own homeless. I wouldn't have such a problem with it if the owners of these hotels had said, right, how many homeless people have you got on the streets within your local cities, right? Pull all them off, right? At least get them an address as well, so they can start their lives, even though I know that they can use the DWP as a mailing address. But at least then that's showing that they're not just favouring one demographic of people over another, because we've got a homeless problem in every major city in our country.
It boils my piss. This thing with Cottingham, right? 1,100 for the launch. Yeah, you can have a 1,100 in there. In 2021, there was 1,283 deaths, homelessness deaths. Yeah. So that one building in Cottingham could have eradicated homelessness in the UK, homelessness deaths. Yeah. So look, we could have had no deaths just for opening one building. Yeah, that could have got 1,100 homeless people off the street. So if we can open up one building for migrants for 1,100, why can't we do this in every city and end homelessness? End this, you know what I mean? We don't give a fuck about our own people. There's no money to make out of homeless people, yeah. The government can't make money off homeless people. They can make money off migrants.
This is what I'm seeing, and I played a little video yesterday where some bloke, years ago it was, he summed up migration and shit like that in gumballs. They're better off. We're better off helping them out in their own country, because the people we seem to get from the migrants, the demographic of the migrants that we get are the more healthy, able-bodied people that are able to make the journey, whereby the ones that are really in need, the disabled, the sick, that really do need help from people, are left in their own country. So their country is still going down the shitter, where the able-bodied people that could stay and rebuild that country come over here to me to just sponge off it, because they've got they don't speak English. Well, that's no reason not to come here. You know, I can't use that, but that's one. You know, and to me, they don't want to really integrate with people. They want to stay in their own little groups.
Well, then their countries are now going even more to shit, because what people need to understand is this government don't care about the money being spent in this country on immigration, because we're spending it from the foreign aid budget. So what we would normally give a developing country to try and make their country better, to keep their people there, to help them get jobs and sustain their lives, we are now spending it in our own country. So we are basically saying we are turning into a third world shithole. We need to spend the money here.
Yeah, but then, you know, if we keep taking, and like Swift said, that we're cherry picking the best from these countries. Well, sorry, the best of the worst. You know, whatever which way you want to put it, this is where I look at it. But we're then ploughing all the money into them, giving them a lot of funds that we really can't afford ourselves. So that's making our country into a shithole. So that's dragging us down. So then it's going to come to a point that we're not able to help anybody, because we're in the same shit as every other country in the world that they come from.
Well, yeah, like you say, privatisation of the NHS was spoken about maybe 8-9 years ago. It's taken this long, and it's going to be implemented soon. You know that, don't you?
Well, I believe a lot of the NHS is being privatised for many years, many years. Right, a lot of the lucrative stuff within the NHS have been privatised. Your cancer treatments, because, you know, when you go to cancer centres and things like that, there are Macmillan nurses. A lot of them, they're charity nurses, Macmillan. So that's a charity. And all the scanners you go through to be tested for cancer, they're run by private companies inside NHS hotels. So the NHS have been asset stripped for years already.
Yeah, like you say, the charities actually, they're the ones that help the cancer sufferers in hospitals. They're the ones that give them the grants and help them with monetary needs. You know what I mean? It's not the government. You know what I mean?
No.
In his time of need, all these cancer machines are all fundraised by survivors after they've got out of hospital. They go and fundraise for that piece of equipment for the hospital. Yep. It's never the government.
It is it. And that's why that's why the most lucrative parts of the NHS, dental is you know how much it's going to cost to get a top and bottom set of implants. You know,
$6 grand in Turkey.
Well, I won't go to Turkey, mate, for starters. You know, I've heard a lot of bad stories, and yeah, I won't go to Turkey.
I've heard a lot of people from England died in Turkey over the last year from having dental implants.
Yeah, I'd go to Belarus or somewhere like that.
Well, how much is it there?
Probably. Well, Boomer's in the chat. Boomer said about 2 or 3.
And I want 6 screws in the top, 6 screws in the bottom, and I want the zirconians.
Yeah. Mine's a lot.
You getting yours? You had your compo yet?
No.
Are you still fighting for that?
Yeah, it take me. You know that one takes years. That was November the 5th. That will take a good long time. They're holding that one out, but we're waiting to see on that.
They just fucked me over on one of them. Not fucked me over, but basically the police are denying. They put the warrant there. They're saying the court put a warrant out, fake warrant out for me arrest. So I've got to sue the court now. So that's last 6 months meant for court because I've got to go through the process again.
Oh, what's people asking me? Cost me $400 US dollars for 2. So that's about just over 200 quid for 2 implants.
Oh, fucking hell. You know, put me a flight.
What are you saying about Turkey, B?
Me with teeth, I'd be dangerous, mate, I'm telling you. Fucking hell, this movement would not like me with teeth. Fucking hell.
Yeah, there is good ones in Turkey, but then again, would you go? How many on Facebook? I get loads on Facebook a day. All yeah, it's because obviously you spoke about it, hadn't you? And the algorithms picked it up. It's fucking mental. All I'm getting is dental implants. And I'm thinking, I know I need a new set of teeth. I won't be able to talk with them anyway.
Yeah, I know. I see people, like you say, in our circle that have had them done that can't really talk properly, can they?
Yeah, it takes a long time. To get be able to talk. But so what's the next thing? So you're going to Cottenham next weekend.
But I'm meant to be speaking to a Turkish Home Secretary politician. I've been meaning to speak to her for a few weeks on the Zoom. And I'm going to try and get into her so she can give me a decent dental in Turkey.
I tried it with my dentist. I went to the dental hospital. Well, I went to my dentist back in February in 21 on an emergency. They then referred me to the dental hospital, and I didn't hear back from the dental hospital. They sent me a letter in October. I then went to the dental hospital the week later, had an appointment, and he told me, pull your teeth out. I then tried to say, well, look, the cancer made all my teeth go black. I think you should give me implants, and it was just a flat no. It was a flat no. If I want implants, they'll take my teeth out, but I will then have to go to another country and pay for it myself.
But if you're a woman and you need some new breasts, come along and we'll do you some.
Yeah. Well, this is it. It's that woman on the NHS who had her boobs done, and then she wanted them reduced again, didn't she? And yeah, but they won't won't pay for a set of teeth. Oh, they will pay for a set of teeth, but I can't. I'm not wearing any sort of NHS dentures in my mouth. Sorry.
It's like sucking a cock, mate.
It's horrible. it is. I'm like that. I do need new teeth. It's horrible.
You was going to ask me what's my plans. What are your plans?
Mate, I don't know, because I don't see, like, it's all good. I see all this good highlighting, you know what I mean? And what I have seen as well, Yorkshire, she gets around those fucking hotels, don't she? I mean, she gets around them, all right?
She's fucking so she's hardcore, isn't she?
Fucking hell. You can't fault it for dedication to highlighting how many hotels, because it is about highlighting the hotels as well. Totally, because we've got to remember these hotels, because they're not going to be housing migrants forever. All right?
You got to remember Yorkshire as well. She won't. This isn't about, like, me, I go and say, because I can create a drama within a second, and it's like, that's what people want. She don't go for that. She'll just go, and even if there's one little migrant there, she'll just take a little 2-second video or 8-second video and move on. But normally, like you say, with her drama seems to just seem to go crazy, don't they, when the singer is a little woman?
Well, this is it. But I watched one yesterday. He pretended he was a... See, there's no need to pretend when you go to these hotels what you're there for, right? He went to a hotel pretending he was an Amazon driver. That's going to get what Yorkshire Rose does stopped, because they will stop it for him and they will stop it for everybody.
Well, we thought that was Britain Pace when they stormed the hotel before. We thought, for fuck's sake, we won't be able to highlight no hotels no more.
Well, see, this is the thing. I've never had. I've had the police called, but I've never had the police attend. Well, I have actually twice on 2 occasions, and both times they left me alone to do what I was doing. So yeah, but then it gives them an excuse to move you on, isn't it? And they hate it because they can never get an excuse with me.
Yeah, true. I mean, like Cottingham yesterday, I went to the Thwaites Hall and did a one-man protest with a banner, and then after that, the police didn't leave me alone and escorted us out of the village, basically, to grow behind us till we left the village.
This is it. It's all down to, like, I just don't let the police intimidate me. I never have and never will. You know, I think they are a joke, to be quite honest.
Oh yeah, I hate the police, but I've got my own reasons to hate the police anyway. I've grown up in the 90s when there was none of this social media. There was no police accountability. The police used to be able to just beat the fuck out here. They had a welcoming committee, and even openly used to say it on the radio. We have a welcoming committee down at the cells for it. You used to have like 12 coppers waiting for you to beat the fuck out of you. So yeah, I hate the police.
Yeah, I grew up. See, the difference is there's a difference, right? I've grown. It's the different environments that we've both grown up in. I've come from an environment. It is, you know, it's a leftist city. We all know it. I lived in the north of Bristol, which was a predominantly affluent area. I didn't grow up around anything, you know, to what you've seen, and it's like lots of other people seen. That's why I feel I'm so hated in my city. I'm far right. Is in their, you know, in their eyes.
Yeah, it's crazy. Where in my area, it's the total opposite to you. You know what I mean? And like you say, when we go around the northern towns, people respect what we do because it's not a left-winger thing. It's just we're having it pumped on us. You know, we have no control because our councils and politicians don't give a fuck about us.
I cannot turn up to a test that is put on by the left, and there's hundreds in Bristol every week. Every week, I can't go because I get attacked every time. Because they know I've been chased through my city by them.
Yeah, that's it.
The day Anne-Marie Waters was supposed to come to Bristol to protest underneath the Colston plinth, there was a counter demo by Antifa there. And when I rocked up, they had their spies out already looking for me, and they were on me before I even knew it. All of them from all directions. It was mental.
Yeah, that Anne-Marie Slaughters, she attracts a right wild bunch, doesn't she? That go against her.
It's madness. It's all madness. And then everyone gets tired because you're highlighting it, and you're thinking, and then you're tired with this. You're tired far right. I'm far from it.
Now,
what's that?
I think she's UKIP now. I think she did a speech in Skegness at their annual meeting. I'm sure she's about to, or she is UKIP now. But she disappeared, didn't she, from For Britain when she got caught holding a microphone with a PA sticker on it.
Yeah, but they, mate, it all happened. You know, they all tried to come back during the lockdown with all the lockdown COVID thing. It was all trying to come back then, and then it all goes quiet again, and it all came back up. You know, the drag queen bollocks, and it's everything, isn't it? It's down to, I feel, it's I think there's more ways to skin a cat.
Yeah, no, everyone jumps on whatever's popular because it's a grift and there's money to earn out of it. I try and just stick to the fucking one thing at the minute. People say, "Why are you saying stuff about this COVID shit? Why are you saying stuff about that?" I'm like, I don't listen to that because I'm too focused on immigration. The amount of information I'm being given and have to research, I don't have time to look at all this shit. You know what I mean? It's like stay on one subject and you'll be all right. But when you keep jumping from whatever's popular, it gets a bit. You know, I think to myself, you can just see the people for what they are.
But how how do we get right? We all know we know what's got to change, and the only way migration is going to change is if we change certain compacts, certain agreements, certain laws within this country. But how do we get those changed? Because everything we've done.
Reform.
Can you put any hope into any political party? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I have a bit of hope, but all I can see is Reform being like the Brexit party from the other year, where they got so close, and then Nigel fucking jumped ship at the last day. They didn't want that pressure on him, did he? And Nigel's just. He's another. He just loves the camera and loves the attention and loves the fame.
Sorry. I'm going to say it. I think Nigel was only ever feathering his what was it, Piers Morgan style chat show on his news program. That was always what he was interested in. That's why he wanted to build a following, I believe.
He just loves pop. He just loves being on the telly and people loving him. Doesn't that? He hasn't got. You got to remember, he hasn't got much about him. I only learned that through doing, and you know why? Because you know where Nigel gets all his information from over the immigration and all his footage. So
Sorry. Remember that video he put out one day when he was racing down in his Range Rover, and he was racing down to St Margaret's. All right. Mm. Why was he doing that, Active? Is because who was there?
Well, the guy that. Well,
he mentioned that there were people there. I've had reports. The reason why he had reports is because it was the day that me and you walked out around the corner all the way out to St Margaret's, and we almost walked all the way back to Dover Harbour.
Oh, yeah, that was it, yeah, because I only realised that day, I think, that you've only got one lung or something, or one something, innit?
Yeah, one lung.
We even put them rocks, we even wrote our names in the rocks, didn't we?
That was right, we put it in that little coat. I still got the pictures of that, and that's when Nigel put that video out, because he was racing down, but by the time he got down there, we had already gone.
Yeah, that was it, yeah. I can remember
he come down and filmed, but we were, like, walking miles out.
Yeah, I also realised, like you say, a lot of it was like the Daily Mail photographer guy. He was making a lot of money off selling pictures of kids coming off them boats, like you say, and he didn't like it because I turned around and said, to me, you're just like a pedo because you're just selling pictures of kids to the press. That's all you're interested in. You're not interested in stopping it. You're interested in just getting a nice new Aldi or that nice Canada Goose jacket you got on. You're a posh version of Tommy Robinson, mate. That's all you are.
And then when I was in Bristol, right, filming the riots, right, I had Nigel Farage restream. I think he was retweeting it actually. He was actually living it off of mine on his Twitter.
Yeah, they will, because they don't want to give you an audience. They want that audience for them on their channel. They don't want to give you that audience, even though they're giving you the stream and you're getting an audience, but they want people to know, look, this is mine. Look, I put it out there.
Yeah, exactly.
You see that what's going on with James at the minute as well?
James.
Goddard, he looked at that, what everyone's putting out, because that Douglas Murray retweeted it, didn't he? Because he's had a letter from the police wanting to speak to him because he did a video in August when the World Cup at Wembley, when all the pride flags was out, saying Wembley's turned into noncery.
Why does he want to get done for hate crime or something like that?
Malicious communications, apparently.
See, that's coming down to the online harms bill. Which, while we're occupied with other things, they're slipping in the back door.
It's like a thought crime, though, isn't it? Like, well, anyone's thinking, how can anyone get hurt? He hasn't said all LGBT people are nonsense. He just said these flags represent noncery, and so Wembley's turned into noncery. You know what I mean?
Well, I can't believe that, all what's going on and all what's being proved is why hasn't the LGB community come up in arms themselves about all this, this trans shite and this drag queen bollocks. I'm just surprised is why they ain't You know, I feel it is.
Oh, the real gays don't agree with all that shit, do they?
And the real trans people, right? Because people might not agree with it. I have people in here, they don't call themselves trans, they call themselves transsexuals, right? Because all they did is grew up thinking they're in the wrong body, but then when they come to an age, they just went off, done what they needed to do to correct themselves, and then got on with their lives, right? They didn't then have to then portray a look at me, what I've done. So great, they've just gone on with their lives. And there's a couple that follow me that has spoke live in the chat about it. So, you know, whatever people think, a true transsexual who does believe that they've, you know, they're in the wrong body, have just gone off and done it themselves without having to put themselves on a pedestal and put themselves in the limelight.
Like I say, it's just men. I think, to be fair, my honest opinion is I see it as a mental disorder because, like you say, you was born a man or a woman. You know, you can't start going around changing what God made you.
See, this is the thing. Now, if you look at it, how it's pumped on to society now is that's why you've got so many. You know, I don't know. Is it a mental illness? I'm not sure how they're pushing it on society now, and all these children are jumping on because they want to jump on the next trend. I believe it's society that's doing it, but there are people that are, you know, do wake up, you know, and feel that they're not in the right body. I don't know. It's a complicated subject.
I can speak from a little bit of experience because I know someone that's going through it, but I know growing up, I knew that girl was a lesbian. When she was a child, you could just sometimes you just know, you know, because you're close to people, you know. So this person had attention deficit disorder, an attention seeker, basically. So if they've gone from an attention seeker to now going into the transition of transgender, is that not a form of mental illness seeking attention? I want to change, you know, because I want the attention. You know, I mean, I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying it is, but from my experience of seeing someone that's going through it, I would definitely say it's mental illness.
It's one of those subjects, you know. I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for what's going on in anyone else's mind. But I feel what society is doing and what's being pumped through the media now, it's, you know, you should be wearing a dress all the time.
Well, that's it. To me, honestly, I say it how I think it is. I think you're wired up wrong, not you. Transgender people, paedophiles, you're all in the same category to me. You're wired up wrong because if you're thinking thoughts like that, yeah, we wanted to do shit like that, right, you're not wired up right. I think in your brain that is not functioning correctly. So if anything, you need to have something looked at, you know, and actually can we pinpoint what is going on in the brain to make people think like that? And can we change it? Is there something we can look at in the future? Because we don't want to be breeding these types of people, do we? Really?
But the way you look at it, right, you're saying it's like we're breeding those sort of people. You're hitting the nail on the head. You have to look at when did society change? Now, when you grew up, you're around about the same age as me. You're in your 40s, I'd say. So
yeah,
when we grew up, we didn't see trannies walking down the street, or we did, may have the odd one or two. We certainly didn't see them on television in the mainstream, but we did have like camp presenters, you know, Larry Grayson, all those sort of type of people. We knew drag queens, yeah? So you got to see, when did society then push that into the forefront whereby it made it trans? Where did it all come from, trans?
Schools, I think, like you say, the schools have been took over by Marxism, haven't they? And you've got to see what they're teaching kids in school nowadays. You can be anything, you can identify as anything you want as a toddler, and then that the teacher has to respect that. It's like, what the actual fuck, right? If you was a kid playing with a girl's doll. It didn't mean you was gay and you wanted to be a girl. It just meant you was a kid exploring, playing, and having an imagination as a kid. Let kids be kids, yeah? Don't try and get in their minds and think, oh, because they're playing with a girl's toy, they want to be a girl. It's just like they have an imagination, yeah? It all comes down to what they're teaching in schools, I think. And if we sorted out the schools, then kids wouldn't be coming out at, like you say, 11 years old, wanting to have a sex change. Because when I was 11 years old, and I was playing football with a tennis ball in the playground, I was like, if a girl wanted to kiss me, I was running behind the hill to run away because I was all kiddish, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Let kids be kids.
This is it, because I think I walked around my daughter's high school not so long back, and I didn't see a union flag fly in, but I did see an LGBTQ plus flag. Yeah, I mean, you know.
Oh yeah, well, my sister's a social worker, and she works with kids that got like mental illnesses in school or get done in school and have to have special help and have got special needs. And like you say, what they're teaching them in schools, what she tells me, it's just fucking wrong. And with the social services system anyway, I've been through it sort of shit for the last few years. It's all bollocks. You know what I mean? Kids are fucking not safe. These children's services do not look after fucking children. Kids are fucking at risk every day in here. And they don't take away kids at risk. They take away fucking kids because women have fucking had 2 abusive relationships. So because they've been in 2 abusive relationships, I think that they can't look at the kid.
It's called fear of future harm. It's that crystal ball they get out.
Yeah, but yeah, a heroin addict, that's injected and got needles on the floor in their house is all right to keep the kid because they've got food in the cupboard.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fucking hell's going on in this world? The girl just needs treatment, It needs to go on a course, a domestic violence course, to see that actually that guy was grooming me, forcing me to do stuff. I need to get away from that. You're not a harm to your child. Males are harm to you because you're easily groomed, manipulated. Because older men will say, you look beautiful, I'll buy you something, and they fall in love easy, girls. That's what it is.
See, what I think, like changing the subject back to plans, what I think should happen, all right? I don't think mass gatherings in one locations and things like that, because you're then all contained in one place, isn't it? What you need to do is you need small groups of people hitting multiple play, all right? Because they can't be in every place at once. So
we tried that yesterday, just to jump in. Did you see on Telegram there's a channel called Truth Pills?
Yeah.
He wanted everyone filming that ride with hotels and the accommodation yesterday. So I went and did a little one, 5 weights. All that was just for him, basically. And I think only 4 people put videos in.
Well, no, you need to find... No, you do need to find a real... Because you need to make... A bit of noise. It's all about causing a nuisance. That's what protesting is all about. All right. So you need to hit an area that is because people have got to travel, because you need to go to areas like my area. I'm not saying come to my area, but you need to hit areas like mine. All right, because you need to make noise. You need to get the counter demonstration, i.e. the big counter demonstration. Because you need every day, because normal people, because I'm classed as far right, your class is far right. You know what I mean? Everybody that turns up, they all can't be classed as far right, can they? So then you go to these locations. So you find out in one leftist locations, all the locations of their hotels, because a lot of places, they've got more than one.
Oh, yeah, 100%. If you've got one hotel in one town and they haven't kicked up a fuss about it, you're going to be inundated with hotels and shared accommodations. And another one, because I've got a shared house down my street with 3 boat mountains in it.
And I don't mean hotels. I mean HMOs. I mean everywhere that is housing them. Everywhere.
Yeah, even the estate agents. I was going to go to the estate agents for housing these HMOs, and so but I'll go there next week when my new banner comes, because obviously I don't know if you're aware, I can't even spell homeless apparently, but I spelled it right in the last fucking 150 times I've wrote it out in the last year. But when it comes to writing it on a banner, I miss an E out.
Wow. I did try and work out, was there a reason? was trying to make up a reason why you left the knee out, but that's by the by, innit? Also, IHG, I think the Holiday Inn Group, they got a UK headquarters. You all go and protest outside their hotels because they're in on it. Find out where Britannia Hotel's head office is in the UK because they were the first.
Let me jump in there because you're onto something there because we've already, some people have already spoke about that. So I know we've got someone going to the Britannia the company thing on Tuesday. I know Jim may be visiting the one there, the Clearspring Management headquarters this week. So I think James Goddard was visiting one because of Hale, that village in Hale. That's a professional football. Professional footballers and Tom Fiore live in that village apparently, and they're about to stick migrants in there. So I think James Goddard's going down next week to try and get a petition off all the footballers, and then he's going to go to Britannia headquarters in his area.
Because I think Britannia were one of the first hotel chains to start housing migrants back a couple of years ago now. I think whenever they started using hotels, I think Britannia, because we always looked at Britannia as the shittiest hotel chain. All right.
Yeah. Britannia's the main one that took over first, but when you look back, because I look back at cases, there was actually housing migrants in hotels 15 years ago. Crazy. And in Pontins, places like that, they had migrants in years ago. Pontins is deliberately going to have migrants, and I can guarantee you one of the Pontins sites, I can't remember which one it is because I can't remember, it's a long word and a weird spelt name, but they're definitely going to have migrants put in there.
Did you? I also, it's been on, it was, they've been doing it before that because buying properties and turn them into HMOs, right? Roger Cook uncovered this well over a decade ago when he was on, when he used to do the Cook Report, because it is a Cook Report on YouTube.
It's funny you say that because that's why I try and use his way of reporting. He don't give a fuck. That's why I try and thinking myself back on the old school days. How funny that is. This report, Roger Cook?
What he uncovered was that within housing, like yourself, within a council property, your area may have a rental cap, benefit cap for housing.
Yeah.
So you might have an £800 property a month, but you only get £600 housing benefit.
Yeah, mine's $330 in my town.
Yeah, but if you were a refugee or a migrant, there's no housing cap.
No, and this is it. And if someone, like my flat's up for sale and Serco want Serco want everybody's property, so Serco will pay up to £775 to put a migrant in this flat, so you get to rent what I'm getting. So the incentive is to kick us homeless, Brits, English, whatever you want to describe yourself.
They can issue a law for, is it Section 20?
Yeah,
well, either put the rent up or say they're looking at sell the property, give you your legal notice.
Well, yeah, the easy one is put the rent up extortionately. They're going to use the inflation tactic, and you can't afford it, so you're going to have to look for a cheaper property. Migrant then gets put in your property. You become into temporary accommodation, like the YMCA or a shelter, and you'll be like that for probably, or B&B. I know people have been in B&Bs for 18 months in my town.
That's what I said to everybody. Check your local council records. Check them all for planning. And check them all conversions into HMOs.
Well, they've done the thing, and they secretly brought in that new law about the 13-week with the council tax. They changed it because they was having to move all the migrants from hotel to hotels every 10 weeks or something, weren't they?
Yep.
So they didn't have to pay the council tax. Or did it come under? No, it came under something else, a residency or something, didn't it? But they changed the law anyway under our noses. We only found that out at the Skegness meeting.
Well, it was like they shouldn't have been put in the hotels in the first place, because a hotel is a change of use anyway. All right, because it changes. Whereby if they turned it into anything other than a hotel, right, into like a hostel. See, hostel under planning, they have to tell them, they have to get a specific change of use for hostels. All right. And, and it's been proven. And that's why some councils that are putting this oppose these migrants, they're having these applications heard in the High Court, is because they're breaching their own planning regulations. All right.
Yeah.
But the government changed the law where they can just rough shot over local authority. They can say, you're having 700 migrants in your area, like it or lump it. But then whose responsibility, once they're granted asylum, because it's already been proven that majority of these people are going to be granted asylum in this country, whose problem do they become once they're granted asylum? Do they become the problem of the local authority that is there?
It is, yeah.
So
no, it's a local authority.
So they then got to house those extra people.
Yeah, well, like you say, Kent Council Kent Social Department can't cope because they're inundated with migrant men and claiming to be kids. Yeah, they cannot cope. They've gone to the government asking for more money. After 6 months, apparently, or something like that, you become the council's responsibility, your local authority. Yeah. So this is why people don't understand the strain on the NHS, the taxi, the interpreter services. Yeah, everything is a massive factor, and why you can't get a doctor, and why you can't get a dentist, why your care levels are going down. Yeah, and why they're taking items now of your prescriptions, yeah, and saying it's not one of them items that can be got off a prescription. So you're having to now buy your stuff that you need. People are having asthma things, yeah, and they're being told it was only meant to last for 20 puffs or something, or 200 puffs, which meant to last a month. Yeah. And they're having free asthma things taken off them, but they was using for a month anyway. And they're being told now, one's got to last you a month.
Yeah, I have seen that with my prescription medication. They are questioning a lot more when I put it's all done on the app. When they question, oh, why do you need this for? And they tell you on your when you next can order it, they give you a specific date. You can't order it before then, so don't use it all.
Yeah, well, I'm on a high fucking dosage of mental fucking, because I'm a mental retard. And they're now actually saying a slow. Right, they are obviously they give me this medication. I don't know what the medication is years ago. So if you're being told to take this medication, it's going to make you better. They don't tell you this medication is highly addictive. You couldn't just come off this medication if we wanted to take it off you.
Yeah, you got to be weaned off it.
2 mil every 2 weeks. I'm like, what the fuck have you given me? If you was to tell me I don't take that tablet, I'm going to kill someone. I'll go in a mental. I don't know what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Well, I do know what's going to happen, because what I haven't told people is when I got arrested outside Bradford Magistrates Court, they refused to give me the medication during the night. They gave me it during the day, and they said, no, the nurse has to give you it. And I'm like, you don't understand that medication. And obviously through the night, mate, I was fucking psychotic, mate. You don't want to know. Well, you see my custody record, I got it all printed out, mate. I looked back at it and I think, am I really that much of a mental retard?
You're not.
No, it is shocking to look at, mate. What I was doing, mate, is like, I'm a bit crazy. I think to myself, fucking hell, mate, all this because you didn't have a tablet. Fucking what they put you on.
I think, it all depends on the weather. Because now, it's like you said, if the MOD's pulling out and they're really, like you said, they only stop the beach landings, and now if they're pulling out, is there going to be a lot more attempts to go for the beaches? And then are we going to see possibly more deaths? And then will they eventually open up the safe route, and then we'll end up picking them up and bringing them across?
I don't think they care about the deaths. We were saying that last year when we had the deaths, would it change? And we predicted, we knew we was going to have deaths. It's obvious we was going to have deaths when they're crossing in them conditions, and they're going to be crossing in them conditions in the next couple of days because they've just cleared another camp out in France in Gravelines. So We're going to get more deaths. We're going to get, like you say, stupid crossings. If the MOD and the Navy are pulling out, Border Force haven't got a fucking clue, have they? You've seen for yourself how Border Force operate when it's just them. They haven't got a clue. One pair of binoculars between a team, 12 that are meant to be manning the beaches.
Well, this is the thing, and that's you know. But then again, we all know once those boats they're being let in the water, it can be quite easily stopped, and it's stopped at the source. It's the beach. You know, the agreement should have been set up in the first place. Is if the French ain't gonna stop it on the beach, then we'll come over and we'll man your beaches and we'll stop it.
Exactly. That's why I was about the front trip with you. We need to get, because like to create a shitstorm and to stop something, it takes crazy men to do something out of the box, yeah, and put it out there. And if we went across there and we tried to stop them leaving the beaches, can you imagine what uproar that would cause in international, because we're in French soil, yeah, doing the French's job, and are making the British government and the French government look like fucking idiots.
Well, I think I think you know, you are onto something there, because there's very little, you know, you stop it at the source. Even we have the best intelligence services in the world, MI5, MI6, right? Operatives all over the world, you know, and yet we can't find where the fucking dinghies are coming from, because they're all the same. They're all nicely packaged in brown boxes, turn up at the beaches, assembled by the migrants themselves, pumped up. And that takes a fair old while, and I'm sure, you know, forces could actually go in and intercept them like they do in Mexico and shit like that. You know, it's just getting bizarre. So,
well, if us, a couple of council estate kids, knows a whole operation, we know they're bought from China, they go to Turkey, then they're transported to Germany and Belgium, and then they're driven to France during the night. If we know that, and we can stand on the top of a cliff and watch a dinghy come in and catch them on the beach instead of, you know, when it's MI5's job or our services job to do. If we can do that, a couple of council estate kids, it tells you the services are a joke.
But then you've got to look at this aspect active. If you're already not on the radar of the Albanian traffickers or something like that now, then you certainly will be by doing that sort of stunt. That's going to put you in an utmost risk of, you know, being killed, because these are Albanian gangs that are doing this. This is mafia shit you're talking about.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you're saying, and it can be quite dangerous. I have had a few people stop me, you know, like go past in cars and abuse me, but I'm not bothered, mate. It's just one of them things, isn't it? You just have to take it. I don't really care, as long as I'm just trying to stop it, and I don't care if someone tries to fucking kill me. Fuck them. I'll just fucking make sure I got my camera on live.
Because it'd be nice to see. It's like, because you see them all coming in it, you know, and you know how many's coming in on the boats, because you know, Border Force towing the dinghies behind the cutters and things like that. And so you know how many boats are crossing. It'd be nice to actually see them actually getting in the water, because there's got to be no attempt to stop them. And that one attempt that you've seen on Channel 4, and mind you, the Channel 4 documentary was done on the same documentary guy that interviewed you in Dover and turned it into a whole far right, you know, we should be on their side. You know, when they popped that dinghy on that was staged.
It was, because they were going through the negotiations to get more money, wasn't there? And like you say, when they got them that money, then they had a big thingy where they was fighting back with all the migrants with a thingy, with the life jackets on, weren't they? Because our mate got that footage when he went over to France with GB, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know, and it was only because they were just given the money. A week later, they're all jumping in beer boats again and being left to come across. And they're sending TikTok videos showing you the French warship next to them and the lifeboat next to them. And how can you not say it's a handover? You know, you're in the middle of two boats. You're being transferred off from one boat to the other. After that boat's just followed you to the centre channel nice and safely.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. So we've gone from something that you covered all those back years in Pet Level, you know, which first highlighted what was going on, to the operation up at Frontier House. But then then had to find out what hotels they were shipping them off to up north. It was then all predominantly northern hotels and northern towns, but now it's crept up to, I'd say, every town and city in England, Scotland, Wales, and now Ireland. So when is it?
This is like people.
It's not going to stop.
This is why people are backing up in it. This is at the minute, like you say. The thing that I see positive is it is majorly everyone's looking at it now, and no one can deny immigration is the number one topic what everyone wants to stop, right? Whether it is totally or just the boats, or because people don't even look at the Channel Tunnel. We could go down there, like you say. I mean, you could go out on a week, and cover loads of shit because the Channel Tunnel there's probably more coming through the Channel Tunnel than on Dingers.
I'd like to know, right, how many's coming in? Like, the people are just going over and pick them up, these NGOs?
This is it, like you say, and people think that Italy's got a good person in charge now, but there's 6 NGO boats in the beginning of January, and you've got a far-right government, but they've just let 6 NGO boats full of immigrants in. So, really?
Oh, hang on a minute. I've got a Greek minister? He was on Hot Mic saying he only told him that he closed it all to stop an international incident or something like that. Yeah, nobody wants to stop it because you got to remember they don't want to stop it because it's just passing through their country, innit? They don't care. They're not stopping in Greece. They're not stopping in Turkey. They're not stopping anywhere else. They're heading for Europe. Boom, they're heading for the UK, which is not part of Europe anymore. Yeah.
Like you say, I can see my town now. I don't know the logistics about it, but I know Romanian men are being bussed in from Hull to work in my fish factories. But we've got kids leaving school that normally go into the agency working in fish factories to get a few quid before they go into college. They can't even get that job now because we're having Romanians busting from Hull doing all the work.
Well, I'm getting quite worried now because they're going to start using pontins now, aren't they? Like Rishi Sunak preempted us in his speech when he stood up. He said he's going to start using holiday camps and things like that to house them, right? Because but he didn't say we're only going to use in the holiday camps now because we filled up all the 5-star hotels. But that was a different matter. But now he's using pontins. Now pontins is part of Britannia Group, so it makes perfect sense there. Pontins is a failing, my Pontins locally is an absolute shithole. I don't know about if you've got any around you, but Pontins is an absolute shithole holiday. So now they were originally going to use our Pontins in Breen for the nuclear power plant, which is being built right next door.
That's right. So your residents are coming out against the power plant saying they don't want people living in there that are working on the power plant, but they'd rather have immigrants put in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you can't make it up, can you, mate?
You can. Absolutely can. All right. So, so all the pontins, so all the seaside towns, so all the seaside hotels. So the only real industry we had left in the UK was our tourism. So now that is just been obliterated by migrant men within tourist hotels, seaside resorts, which were failing anyway. And now they're just, because you got to remember, all these men, right, you got to look at it. The hotels that they use, right, these 4-5-star hotels are predominantly weekday hotels for businessmen and conferences, right? So it's what they call a passing trade. So when they go to these communities, these businessmen, they go out into that community and spend money, yeah? So they generate business. They go to the local pubs, they drink, they go to the local restaurants, they eat, they go to their conferences, they do whatever they need to do in that town, and then they go home. So they bring money to that town. So if you're filling up that town with migrant men who don't drink, don't go out to restaurants, are not bringing anything into the local economy, what's going to happen to that economy?
Well, all they're doing is taking, and like you say, tourism is dead, but they were sold the dream last year by the government because of COVID and everything. They all updated their premises expecting a massive influx of UK people staying on their own soils, and now all have been given is migrant men filling up the hotels, taking everything away from the economy. Like you say, services have gone shit everywhere. You can, like you say, you can ring up for a doctor. It can take you an hour just to get through to a receptionist, and then you don't get through to a doctor. They might put you through to a nurse who will call you back the next day.
Well, this is it. Going back to, I can only comment on the hotels and places that I visited, and the manner that it was brought, which was, it's being brought with public money as we speak, which was a hotel, which now is housing migrants for the X amount of years or whatever, how long it's going to take him to pay it off. Once all that's over, he's then going to transfer it back. Whether or not the government's going to pay for the renovations or what damages has been done during the time, that's another question that needs to be answered and proof found. But he's then going to turn it back into a hotel, a very nice hotel, Country Manor, and make millions more. So, but off of taxpayers' money, and regardless if you work or you don't work and you claim benefits, everybody in the UK pays tax. It doesn't make a difference.
These small hotel chains you need to look into as well, because when you look onto a company's house, they don't have to put tax returns in during the time when all these migrants are there, which tells me they're not paying no tax. That check that they're being given from the government is a tax-free check. Yeah, you take the money, we do the rest.
Now, I'll get on to the tiny little small things. If we're going to start nitpicking about what, they should be paying for and what we pay for as well, right? In the army, a TV license, whether or not you agree with it, right, you have to pay it. Now, in hotels, they got a special thing that one TV license covers the whole hotel because it works off of one main room. Yeah. But
hey, but 1 minute, but a change of use, so aren't they? So
yeah, they changed the use. So each room, like I did in the army. Now, I lived in a block, right? A block, and we were all on the same area. Now there were 6 blocks, and each block had 3 floors, and each floor had, I think it was 6 rooms either side. Yeah, we all had to have a separate TV license.
Yeah, so the students do. This is what I mean. So that student halls that could house 1,100 migrants. Yeah, you've got flat screen TVs going to be put in every room. Is that 1,100 TV licenses?
Well, technically it should be, yeah, but I guarantee you it isn't. So who's paying for that? So, you know what I mean? This is what we got to look at. It's all the small little things on top of what's being given now, and it's.
You need to get people in your chat, because I can't see your chat, but anyone who knows how to do FOIs, freedom of information, we need them actually putting on these places, like these halls, these multiple occupancy, and see if they actually are paying TV licenses under the freedom of information.
Well, it's everything. Are they paying? It's down to, right? Even down to council taxes and local taxes as well, because my local police and crime commissioner is asked Bristol City Council to put a survey out, which the survey's already out, asking the residents of Bristol, can he ask for an extra, I think it was 2 or 3% rise in the council tax, because he needed it. Now, what I'm saying is, I know for a fact the call-out rates to these hotels by the police have gone up. I've got multiple videos of emergency services attending these hotels, right? Fires, fires at 2 of the hotels, police dragging people away, arresting twice. So who's paying for those services? That's coming out of that local area. So why should they, if crime's going up with these migrants, why should they burden the cost?
Well, yes, they don't get a say, do they? The government's just changed the calculations and said, we've calculated it wrong. You're going to have to take twice as many migrants in every town. So we're looking at now, and we're being flooded. We're going to have to take twice as many in. So this year is going to see a massive difference in little villages like Cottingham, and the ones in Ireland standing up, Skegness residents standing up at the council meeting. There's a demo in Skegness next month. There's a demo in Leeds in a week and a half, I believe, 2 weeks on Saturday, just gone. Everyone is actually starting to come out in them communities, and I think that's the way forward to build, because if you can go to Cottingham, get 1,000 people, residents to come out, and if they stop it in their town, if we can then say to them, we need you in the next village when the next village is about to be flooded with them, can you all come? And then that's how you build a proper movement of real people, not just these conspiracy theories that are trying to say, this is a UN army, or this is...
Yeah, it needs to stop, because it's then going to paint the genuine people that come out. Yesterday was like fantastic in Cottenham. I couldn't believe the amount of people.
This is it, right? When you do not need to paint a different narrative, right? Because they're painting the narrative themselves. Yeah,
exactly.
We're being flooded. We can see we're being flooded. We're filming the invasion. Now we're filming everything. We're telling you all the news stories in them areas about people being raped, abused, beaten, robbed. What more do people need to know before it's like, we need to come out? Nothing else. Right, we don't need to put out a fake headline just to get a couple of clicks and views. It's not about clicks and views, right? It's about spreading the word. Yeah. That's all.
Yeah, the reality is worse enough than rather than you know making it worse than by saying it's something it's not. That's what I get angry about. you know, we are being invaded, and I can call it an invasion because it's been called an invasion in the house. So but to me, it is not racist for me to say that you put a larger proportion of predominantly African men in a village that is predominantly Anglo-white. You're going to change the demographic overnight. Now, is that fair on the local residents that are there?
No, because like you say, people, like you say, never go out of their village or their town.
Yeah.
So
because a lot of these people that live in these little villages are retired or just want a quiet life, and they've got a bit of money, and I don't care if you've got a bit of money and you're able to buy a nice property out in the country and live a nice life. All right? You're changing the demographic for them. Is it fair on them? No, it's not.
No. A lot of these people may have not even seen, they may have only ever seen a different coloured person on the TV, because, like you say, these villages are hundreds of years, at quiet little villages with only 400 or 500 people, and they've never witnessed immigration. They've only ever seen it on the TV. Yeah. So when you just dump loads of men in their town, you're going to that town's going to be fucking shit scared, frightened to fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they go online and they read all the headlines, and it's all bad, and it's like, whoa, lock your doors. They've never locked the doors before, these people. The neighbours used to walk into their houses and talk to them. Now they've got locks on the windows, alarms on the doors, cameras on the doorbells.
Yeah.
It's like we're living in a society where it's a scary thought, It's like we're witnessed and dealt with it. These people that where we're going to their towns, they haven't got a clue what's about to hit them, and it's just we need to wake them up, but not in a false present, like you say, with the UN Army shit. We don't need to present it like that. We just need to present the facts. Headlines, the papers, headlines of hundreds of headlines there to present.
Yeah, but I've gone to a hotel as active, right, and it's only the security that are assholes, right? The migrants themselves, quite pleasant. I've had a good few interviews with them, and a few of them told me their stories and things like that. The one that had the tag on, right? I had one. He had a GPS tracker on, right? He was the guy. He was the very first guy that was tried up in the High Court and got acquitted, for being the driver of the boat when they tried to say the driver of the boat was the trafficker.
Yeah.
He was one of them. That's why he was wearing the tracker. And he's now, he subsequently had it removed, and he now lives down south somewhere, and he's a fitness instructor.
I was going to say, he kept in touch with him. You should have got his story about his progressed and see what like you say, because it's interesting to know, if they charged him with being a boatman, was he forced? Did you get a full interview of him? Was he forced to to hold the fucking thing on the engine?
Mate, I don't think you would ever really get the truth out of it anyway, because it looked like that sort of chap. You know what I mean? Right, yeah. I could tell. I
had a chat with a migrant yesterday when I was walking down the island to Thwaites. He was going back to Thwaites. He actually, I said to him, "Are you liking it?" And he's like, "No, I just want a hug off my mum."
Yeah, I had one like that.
Yeah, so it's like, I look at it and think, well, why are you here then? You know, why you spent £1,500 just to get on a boat from France, but you probably spent thousands more coming from Iran, you know, to get to France. And you've got here, you've been sold a land of hope, milk and honey, but it's not to your liking because you're in a house with 200 African men, and you thought he was going to be in a house and have a car and live the dream.
I had one who didn't walk anywhere. He got transported all the way from Iraq by bus to Belarus, then another bus from Belarus to France, and then he got picked up by taxi in Paris, and then the taxi driver drove him from Paris to wherever. He didn't know where he was going to get a boat, but he knew he was coming to the UK. But he didn't know, you know, where he was going to set sail from, but the taxi driver did. So, you know, he didn't walk nowhere.
Yeah, I think I've seen them on TikTok. I think I've copied all the videos of one where he's actually got a minibus, and the amount of people he gets into this minibus to drive across the border, and then the next step of the way they're on like a yacht, and they're all tucked into a yacht to get into the Italian border. And then it's like these people do not care. They're showing you every little step of the way how easy it is to cross the whole world free of charge, basically.
Well, you got them on planes as well, because they were picked up. He went on a plane from one country to another country, and you can see the border force behind him, following him with guns through the airport, right? Then he was let out, and then he obviously found his way here. And the next TikTok you see is, well, his boat journey is being taken off of his TikTok, but it's out there. But there's a lot of versions you don't actually see his face, because he don't want to show his final little bit of a journey that he entered the country illegally. You know, but he's got thousands of TikToks. He's got more gold than Mr. T.
Mate, you laugh though. Come here and they open up. Like, my biggest thing at the minute is the hairdressers, the Albanian and Kurdish fronted hairdressers, you know, just the money laundering, and now they're just blatantly bringing people fresh off a boat, who's never cut hair before, and just standing them next to another hairdresser cutting hair and saying, copy me. And then just putting them on a random person that doesn't have a clue that this guy's just coming on a boat, cutting their hair and fucking it up.
The same with car washes, and that's been going on for years. And to me, those car washes have always been a front. Because there's vast sums of cash only going through there, right? So how does the tax man know exactly what's going through that company?
This is it, you know, and my car wash on my corner right here now, the Albanian one, it's gone from maybe having 5 workers into maybe the last 6 months, it's got maybe 14 or 15 workers, cars constantly coming in. You know, I don't think to myself.
But even if you average it, right, and you just say a tenner a car, right, and you just stand there for a day and count, right? They're not declaring it. It's all cash. It's all cash workers. And to be honest, how many of them are legal?
Oh, none of them. Maybe one of them who's looking after. Well, no, none of them are legal. They're all illegal, probably.
But that's been going on for years.
Yeah, we've had a few raids recently where they've been working. Few illegals have been working in the curry shop and local corner shops.
And it's like all those people, I'm surprised, I was put onto it a few years back. There's a place in London where there's people get picked up on the daily by work vans and shit like that and go off, do a little bit of black work. And these men that are getting picked up don't look English.
Oh, the boat migrants at the minute from the hotels, we haven't followed it 100%, but we 95% because we've got the proof. Amazon, they're working in the Amazons, they're getting picked up, and going to Amazon to work.
See, when I have been stood up at the hotels, right, I have seen them like leaving, and I'm looking at them, I'm thinking, you got fucking work boots on. What have you got work boots on? Why is there an IVIDS with you? You're a refugee. You're not allowed to work.
This is it.
You know what I mean?
Well, I was talking to the guy yesterday, and he said he gets £8 a week, and I said, but you can't get £8 a week because it costs more than £8 for a case of beer. And I said, I film migrants all the time with cases of beer.
Yeah.
So where's the money coming from then, if that's the case?
Exactly. And I thought, well, I don't know, they can't be that religious then, because I thought it was haram.
The police don't care, remember, because migrants have been stealing phones in Skegness from the bingo hall, and have been Find My Phone's been switched on, and they've been showing up in these migrant hotels, and the police have been informed, and they turn around when it's been told it's been in a migrant hotel. They said, forget about it, we can't get back.
Well, yeah, they tried to do it to me when that guy had a go at me. He didn't assault me when he clearly did, but they wanted to interview me for a potential, well, whatever. He wouldn't tell me what he wanted to interview me for until I was there in interview. But
yeah, you try and put any allegation in when something's gone against you, they'll try and swing it back, don't they, onto you? Well, right, if you do that, we'll look into your conduct.
I don't care. They really don't care. They don't want to be labelled the racist, do they? And I just don't see any news reports now. And I've seen one the other day that Bristol Live put out that, what does a migrant do during Christmas and shit like that. Oh, my life.
But what does an homeless guy do during Christmas? I'll tell you what he did. Like, loads of shops open in the area because they're all God-given people, and they all know. And they open the shops up and they put free meals on for the homeless. They look after the homeless. The churches open the doors. The government do fuck all, right? If you're English in this country, you're fucking back in the queue.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said. There's no money to be made on nationalism anymore.
I hate it, mate. I walk around my streets and see the homeless all the time. My mate, he's in jail now, thank God. Right? I mean, it sounds horrible by saying thank God, but he's had half his nose fucking bitten off, yeah. He was living on the railway track in a fucking tent with his mate. What kind of fucking life is that?
Well, it's not. They don't care. I see Tent City. We got a Tent City by our park and ride. With all the homeless, the Tent City they built up around there. No one hassles them. They don't get any help.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
Our homeless get attacked all the time. I've heard so many stories about them being stabbed, battered, proper beat up. They have to find, like you say, my mate was living on the train track in a tent because he couldn't live near the town centre because the kids are fucking little feral bastards, you know what I mean?
Well, we did have that problem in Bristol, Romanian beggars, and absolutely, they just like swamped the city, and then they just all got up and left and went home in their nice cars at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It's absolutely mental.
I'm ashamed to say that these feral kids are all English fucking kids, and the homeless are all fucking English. All my local people that I grew up with, that was my friends.
Well, They did it when I was younger. I was fortunate enough to be able to. I had things to do when I was a kid because it was already government subsidised, like your youth clubs and boys clubs and things like that I used to do as a child. But that ain't gone. What else is there to do? So who do you blame? Do you blame the kids, or do you blame that the society's just like don't want to give them nothing, but they rather give help to other people?
Yeah, they shut the youth clubs down and created an ASBO order, you know what I mean, to criminalise kids for having fucking fun, because they shut the youth clubs down. So what did the kids do? They congregated on parks. They ended up having to drink cider because there was nothing there for them to do to occupy their time.
Look, love it or hate it, we can look at, our country to other countries. Let's look at to what values we've got. If you want to make a society better, right, you would nurture for what you got from within, wouldn't you? You would bring that on. You wouldn't want to import from outside. Yeah, you would want to nurture and make your country better. Yeah, bring in outside. Yeah, have that control. You bring in your doctors, bring in whatever, but predominantly give the skill sets to your children in school now, so we keep English traditions alive. Yeah. But that's not. Yeah. We're rather give up on the ones that are a little bit slow in school, who create a little bit of disturbance. We'd rather give up on those ones and import more from outside, right? And these ones that need a little bit more nurturing in schools are not. They're just left by the wayside, and they're the ones that grow up. They don't have no clubs to go to after school or anything. They then start hanging up with the wrong society, you know, getting to drugs and crime and this and that. At least we're at our own demise because we just want to import. But the people that we're bringing in, they don't give a shit about England, the United Kingdom.
All right, we might be bringing in some doctors, nurses, mental health people, and that might be all good. But why are we actually bringing them in? Because we've been importing for years and years, and we need them to deal with their own culture. What we've created in this country, we've created a subculture of another continent. It's like anyone can identify as being British, and I don't get this bullshit argument. It's like, how can anyone identify as being British? I tried this with John Lawrence the other night. It's like, what is being British? And he's like, well, I've got Jamaican blood, I've got Welsh blood, and I've got English blood. That makes me Great British, you know? And I'm thinking, but it doesn't. It doesn't. Why does that make you Great British? I don't understand this, you know?
It's the argument, right? The argument is, right, I can't go to China, live there for whatever how many years, and call myself Chinese, right? I'll always be. I don't consider myself British. I consider myself English because I was born in England.
This is it. You can't go to China, right? With your missus. Your missus is already pregnant, right? You go to China. Your missus gives birth in China. Is your fucking baby Chinese? It's not, is it? This is what I mean. It's like, how do you add a label to yourself?
It's not. Being British, it's to me, well, you got to look at being British is a piece of paper. It's a test.
Yeah, it is exactly that. It is a test because that's a test they have to do. Because, like you say, I wouldn't even pass this Great British test. Yeah, the questions they ask you, yeah, about the monarchy and stuff, yeah. So it's like an exam. They have to learn this paper before they come in and then pass the exam. And then it's like, yeah, we'll give you a certificate. You're British now.
This is it.
Fuck, it's a mockery. It's a mockery of culture, though, and who you are and what you know.
This is the thing. So you've got to get back to the whole root of it is who wants to eradicate the culture, because it's a fact that you bring in other cultures and you do suppress Christianity, and you know you can't stand out freely and preach the Bible because some lefty gonna get upset when you get to the part of being gay and things like that, you know, shout loud, lie with another man and all that, right? You can't say that, but then you can stand up and say whatever, you know, in other religions you're allowed to say. Why is it that you can't be white and you can't be, you know, be Christian is the way I look at it.
Well, it's just mental, isn't it? It's just like you say, indoctrinating you out there. Because, like you say, everything could go back if we were still learning, like you say, the Constitution. You know, the actual laws from fucking years ago that used to learn you in school, but we didn't learn me in school because it was before my time. I don't know if they did in your school, learn your proper history and proper laws and stuff like that.
You don't learn the Magna Carta. You don't learn about money. What did they teach you about money? Apart from when you used to play with money in play school and nursery, when you had those little fake coins, whenever did they teach you about money in school?
This is it. They don't teach you about anything you need in life. Anything you need in life when you leave school, you've not been learned that. Or you've been learned, like you say, the basic maths, English, and stuff like that. And a bit of geography to know, like, oh, right, we've got different cultures. Well, we have now, so that's all right alive when you're learning it in school. It's like, if you put England now and you learn about geography in England, what's going to come up? The most popular name in England is Mohammed. You know what I mean?
Well, the census, the last census, is, you know, the stark realities that came out from the last census is unreal, with the numbers of English cities. The demographic has turned the other way, you know, but that's okay. It's all in name of diversity. But, but for the sake of diversity, at what expense?
Yeah, well, city of sanctuaries, isn't it? It's like Hull's a city of sanctuary. They've had a grooming gang scandal that got covered up, but they've had to reopen it now. Do you know what I mean? If you look in these city of sanctuaries, refugees, if you want to call them refugees, migrants, they get more help, more protection. That's why it's called a city of sanctuary. There's more cash available for migrants, foreigners in them areas. So that's why they get flooded with migrants. So that's why the government's like, you know what? We'll flood Hull with migrants because they're city of sanctuaries. They won't say no because they can't say no because their own namesake is based on helping immigrants.
Well, and all these cities that are classed as these cities are all part of the World Economic Forum. They all signed up to smart cities and things like that. So, you know, it's why it's why they got to be. Look, there was a report, and I have got it somewhere because I've got plenty of reports. There was talk about having a number. How many migrants should you place in any one area? Because they talked about changing the demographics of areas, yeah. And they said, how many? One per 100 or 1 per 200. So there was talk about it. But now, is there any cap? Is there saying, right, we understand that, we are going to put predominantly African men in these areas. So it is, we got to look at the demographics and the culture that's already in place, isn't it? You can't culture shift.
No, there was, like you said, there was a cap, and the government recalculated it. I don't know what the cap was. So, say for example, it was 0.02% of your population. You would have to accept that many migrants, per circa. It's double, so 0.04%. Whatever the cap was, the government recalculated calculated it wrong massively. Half. So it's crazy to think, like you say, they haven't got a clue about anything. They haven't read the Migrant Compact yet. They haven't read the UN Refugee Convention, because actually when they bring these pie in the sky deals out, right, they say, we're going to send you to Rwanda. They actually believe they're going to do that, and they're going to believe they're going to bring immigration down and people's going to be happy. When in reality, like you say, we're going to be bringing the worst of the worst from Rwanda back here on the SWAT deal. Yeah. And it's like, the government...
And we're screaming about climate change.
Yeah, and the government, that's stupid. They don't know their own rules and regulations. They haven't read into them, or they just become a politician being put into that position and don't have a clue because they're being fed it by people behind them, told what to do. These are puppets, because to know, if you're going to be an Home Secretary, you've got to know what every compact, every convention that we've signed up in, you've got to know the ins and outs of that to know, right, this is why the left-wing lawyers are bringing it to the European courts, because they're using that right to free passage here. So we need to at least shut down that.
When we signed up to these compacts, were they compacts that we signed when we were part of the EU?
Yeah, of course it was.
Right. So to me, a compact is only an interpretation. Yeah. So we just changed the way we interpret that compact now, and we say, right, this is how we interpret it now. This is how it's going to happen from now on. Like it or lump it, right? What can Europe do? What were they going to do? Impose sanction on this? I thought it was, people call us Great Britain.
That's what we're supposed to do, right? Our laws are supposed to supersede that, but the judges have always said they will never go against a compact or a convention. If it's written in a compact or a convention, they're going to see favourably on that side. So whether or not our law supersedes it, no judge will go against the compact. Or, this is what we need to get rid of these judges and get real fucking English judges back in power, and actually change the law and say, no, the compact we've just signed up to it. We've put our signature to it. It doesn't mean it's law. It's agreed in law, and it's not legally binding yet, but we just said in principle, we'll respect the aspects of that compact. Doesn't mean we're going to implement it. Australia did. America didn't put their signature to it because they said straight away when they looked at it, they actually read it and said, if we sign this, it means we're going to be flooded with migrants. All right, they are being flooded now because Biden's letting them in, but there wasn't being.
Australia stopped it straight off, and this is the truth. I'm sure they shot across a few barrels and turned them around. They physically pushed them back, and once the word got back and saying, "Well, look, we pushed them back," You know, and we've got to push them back closer to shore so it's not dangerous, right? So we can control it. We need to be just hovering off of the French shores. As soon as we see a boat, we're on it and we're physically pushing it back. If it goes in the water, we'll pick them up and we're taken back to the French coast.
Well, it is so easy to stop. Like, it's not a massive miles of beach where they're setting off from. There's only 3 separate locations. Yeah, you only need 200 army personnel to be stationed on these beaches. Yeah, that's not costing a lot of money, right? In reality, it's what it's costing us to house these people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're already paying the army, like you say. So there already are soldiers sat there waiting to protect our country, because that's what you join up the forces for. That's why my boy's joining the forces, because he wants to protect his country. You know what I mean? He's not joining up to say, well, I'm going to be a taxi driver and bringing immigrants to England, because that's what they're doing in reality now. It's like we're being a ferry operator and we're just bringing them in. Our hands are tied. Can you imagine being a soldier signing up as a 16-year-old and being put on a border force vessel, bringing immigrants to your country that you know are going to rape and kill your family? As a soldier protecting your country, that's got to be the most degrading, demoralising thing you'll ever do in your life.
Yeah, and I can see it. Someone just said it won't happen. The plan is to replace us. It's what it's looking like, though, isn't it? Because there's no attempt to stop it. No attempt to ease it. There's just like appeasement. We're going to do this, but we're going to put more up in these places. It's going to ease this, but that isn't going to solve the problem, because once the asylum's granted, they're here. Are we going to stop what's coming in now because we got to sort out what's here, and then we got adding on? And mind you, 18 million people are being born into these African countries a year, more than the 1 million that we're taking, or that we're the 1 million that we're helping, is making any sort of difference to the other 800 million plus the 80 million that's being added a year. It's being born into some sort of poverty.
We just can't carry on, can we, like this? Like you say, it was over 1 million last year, wasn't it? And if we're giving out citizenship straight away now to Afghans, Ukraine, where's it going to lead to? Everyone's going to get one. They're all getting these golden tickets in their hotel room. They're opening up these letters, and it's like they're getting a new visa with a name on it. Saying they've been in the country 6 months, some people now, and they're getting them fast tracked.
Yeah,
it's how do we send these people back? Once they've got that card, you know how hard with the left-wing lawyers and legally to send them back once they've got that card. It's near on impossible, because it's near on impossible to send them back when they haven't got the card, when they're here illegally. So
you've got to remember, right? The government, we vote the government in to do things on our behalf. So anything the government do, they've already got our back in this, because we've already voted them in, right? So this whole Rwandan business, let's just make this clear. Rwandan, it's a smoke screen, right? Because if they were going to really do Rwanda and put all these migrants on the plane and fuck them off, right? They would have just gone on and done it. They wouldn't have told the lefty lawyers. They wouldn't have told us what they were doing. It's because they've already got our backing, because we've already voted them into power. So it's not going to stop. You vote the next person in. You got the vote. You say Suella Braverman. Yeah, we get rid of her. What's the next one going to do? We get rid of Rishi Sunak. What's the next one going to do?
This is it. No one's got a back. But the only one that's talking sense, but he just presents to me as a Nigel Farage, is that Lee Anderson, the MP for Mansfield area. He's talking exactly the same, and he's on GB News all the time. But is he just saying that because he likes the popularity? He seems to like attention. So I'm seeing that we see people come and go all the time that try and jump on bandwagons. It's just a bit of fame and glory, isn't it? It's like just to boost their own social media presence. It's not about actually helping it, because if it was going to help it, they wouldn't have voted all these fucking things through for all these years. He turned out, that Lee Anderson, he was a Labour candidate, and he went to a Labour meeting, and the guy running it said to him, have you read the Karl Marx book or something? And he turned around and said, no. And he went, I suggest you go and join Tories. And he said, within 18 months, he joined Tories, and he took his seat. Yeah. So he was Labour. He's a miner, old man from the mining era. He used to be down the pits and that. So if you can swap from one to Conservatives, he's looking like he's going to jump ship and join Reform now. So what faith can you have in him? We've jumped 3 different parties in what, 3 years.
It's all to boost their stature and boost their career. This is all what it is. But then again, there's not enough people, and I think it does come back to grassroots now. Enough people stand up and say it, and you know, and they all can't be tarred with the same brush. There's too many do-good NGOs that stand on the beach giving out water and shit like that, knowing they just come from 23 miles of treacherous water from a safe country that could quite easily help them there. So, you know what I mean? If we got these lefty liberals in power, we're never gonna stop it, and we're not making any. You know, they're not making money out of us.
The thing is, as well, with the parties we've got that are on our side, right? I'm not going to name the parties, but just for instance, have you ever had a leader contest with any of these parties? These people that have created these parties, it's always going to be their party. You know, so if they get into power, how are you going to change the leader like the Conservatives, Tories and Labour and that do? If these people created these parties and they've never had a leader contest and they've always been the leader of the party and the runner, they're never going to give up that, are they?
Well, you need to get these leaders. You've got to look at all the stronghold, all the highly contested seats that can really sway power. These are the cities that you need. You know, my city has been a Labour stronghold, and it's quite a major seat for the last 30 odd years. Practically uncontested, really, because never going to change seats, Bristol South, and it's a large seat. So you know, these sort of, you got to look into the shady run-ins of these cities, because it's not. You look into these cities now. Bristol, for one, is not run by central government. It practically governs itself because it's run by the city. It's run by the mayor, basically, because he's a businessman. So they get their government funding, and a lot of the businesses within Bristol, like the major businesses, like the waste, refuse collections, all that sort of stuff, are franchised out to other agencies which are owned and operated by our local mayor, and it's all signed in to the World Economic Forum. You look at every city that is you know, quite left. They're all run by their mayors.
Yeah, and the mayors hold so much power. You know, like you say, you know, Kim and Tom in Liverpool, they had it to do with the mayor took them to Crown Court. She pulled up at the side of her in the traffic lights, and the mayor was Antifa, ex-Antifa leader before she became mayor. Listen to how corrupt that is. They got her house named over just for saying something to her at the traffic lights. The mum's house at 4 a.m, took them to Crown Court, and she actually won a case, Kim and Tom did. So now they're suing her. But they have so much power, these mayors.
Yeah. Well, and this is all down to 15-minute cities, because it all can't be controlled by centrally. So you're going to need a local controller, aren't you? And the local controllers are city mayors, which is the business aspect of it. Now, our city mayor in Bristol, he flew out to give a TED talk in Canada for 15 minutes on climate change, and then flew back. He could give that TED talk on Zoom. So
they take the piss, don't they? You know what I mean? They're moaning about climate change, but they'll jump on a fucking plane to talk about it. But like you say, normal people just do a Zoom call. You know what I mean? Technology nowadays, but yet you have to be flying physically stood there. No, you don't. Your voice, your message gets out there. You know what I mean? This is it. Social media. This is why we go on fucking migrant routes and just do a little 2-second video, because we know it'll get spread through social media.
Yeah, everything's not run by central government anymore. We got to look at our government. It's not our government. It's WEF. We answer to the World Economic Forum.
They tried to take control of towns though with the police crime commissioners, didn't they? That's why they made that name up.
Yep.
To try and put their politicians in power running the police in that town.
Yep.
But it didn't work like that, because the police have predominantly always been run by Freemasons, haven't they?
Yep.
So they've always had the special little group. In my town, especially, has that special little group because my crime commissioner for the whole of Humberside is a Freemason from my town. You know what I mean? And I know all the people underneath them are Freemasons.
Well, if you look at now, our Masonic within Bristol is obviously down to what they're called the merchant venturers and things like that, right? Because Bristol was predominantly a port. It's where Blackbeard came from.
Yeah, well, this is my
there you go, look, isn't it? You got to look at it.
Richard Army, yeah, all my councillors, what people in my council that run my council, ex-army, ex-police, yeah,
yep.
And that's all Freemasonry in my town through the port.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's the same as mine. It's the merchant venturers that run Bristol.
Well, at my 11/11 remembrance, I went to my local market where I got my breakfast, and the Freemasons put on a remembrance room, and it was the football liaison police officer, top police officer, Freemason, the church woman, she's Freemason. It was all, they don't hide it either. We don't hide it, this is what I mean.
No, this is it. This is it.
But people don't realise what them people are, how powerful these people are. Like they have special meetings, right, in a little club where they talk about how they're going to move the town forward and what they're going to do.
But really, it's not moving the town forward for the good of the gentle folk, because the everyday man. It's to make them more rich and more powerful. That's what it's about. They don't care. Look at your fishing industry for one.
Oh, we haven't got it now. It's been
there.
Ruined.
You go. Imagine your little where you come from. Was it Cleethorpes and that?
Grimsby,
Grimsby. You just imagine if you still had a fishing industry, how much thriving that would be now. Look at it now. Who did that?
I'd be on a boat now if our fishing industry, because I know full well that I'd be a boat person going out catching all the fish, earning lots of money like they used to do. My town used to be Freeman Street, coming off a dock. It used to be per mile. No other town had pubs. That many pubs in one street. So when the fishermen came, they walked the whole street and went in every bar down the street. We even had prostitutes outside the pubs. We had piano players inside the pubs. It was thriving. Now it's full of foreign shops.
Yep. So it's destroyed an industry that was thriving, and we all know that. You know that's why unemployment happened, right? Because you would probably rather be on a boat on a few-day fishing trip and come back with a few grand in your skyrocket, because that's how much fishermen earn, isn't it? You know, if you got a full share, you're not some sort of greenhorn.
I can remember the 90s, you used to go out for 10 days or the 30 days and they'd come back with at least 1,500 quid in the 90s. Yeah. And that was young men, and that was a lot of money back then.
Not saying it's the most dangerous job in the world, but it pays the money.
Yeah, if you've got your wits about you, if you're an hard worker and a grafter, it is graft, but that's what I mean, the time flies, hopefully.
So why is our fishing industry so shit? And mind you, we got some of the most richest waters in the world.
Because we're controlled by the EU fisheries regulations.
So this is it, and it's all up the chain, mate.
Isn't it right? So everyone, when fish prices went up the other month just before Christmas, right, everyone put it inflation and was like, why is fish doubled in price? No, it's because Denmark and Norway, 90% of the fish come from them, and they have their holidays at that time, so there was no one out catching fish. So what fish came in was you still bid on
premium
fish. It's
price.
like an auction. It's an auction, right? So you come to the docks like an auction house, you're bidding on fish. Every company's there. Here, 20, 30, 40, 50. So it gets the last number, you get that fish. Your label gets put on that fish. Ice gets chucked on that fish.
That's it.
Your way, you know what I mean? So it's just crazy because we've got no boats. We've got probably one or two boats in my town, not proper fishing vessels that just do the basics now.
See, we had everything. We had obviously the cod. We got thriving waters. We got cod. We got the crab down in the Cornish coast. We got the linguistine, you know, crabs and everything up in Scotland and things like that. Yet our fishing industry is pap.
It's in the warships, right? If you look at the Dover Acts, when we look to the Some of the fishery, big military vessels that are patrolling the water, stopping the French from coming into our waters, but they don't actually do it because the French don't give a fuck. They used to wall us like, set our boats on fire, set flares across, shooting at us, setting our boats, and no one did fuck all for us. There's no protection at the sea.
Well, their drag netters used to come through all the pots, didn't it? And used to just take the pots out and everything, and take their lines. It's mental.
Our fishermen, like you say, our fishermen weren't just fishermen during the war. They were fucking bringing all the mines back. Half our fishing fleets got blown up through mines in the sea. You know what I mean? It's a rich history, and it's like to lose that overnight. People don't understand. If we went from a labour boat in town for 30 years, to voting Conservatives, because Boris told us, he promised us a lie, said he was going to give us our fishing industry back,
Well, didn't they build that big plant? Didn't they build one of the biggest plant? Was it for the? I was watching a documentary on YouTube actually about it. Built the fish market.
Yeah, well, we built a new fish market because ours was old and aging, but it's not. It's not a proper. I'd have gone back to the old fish market where the boat used to just pull up at the docks, and you'd all be stood there and just bidding on, the old-fashioned way. But now you're in a custom-built building, but there's no need for it no more because the fish that's coming is just coming straight from Norway, and it's like, it's not, what I mean? It's not thriving. You maybe get packet and that's it.
Well, it's like you said, it was too heavily influenced by the EU. The EU quotas, chucking back fish. Because you've gone over your quota. Huh?
Do you know how much fish we have to chuck back? I know fishermen that have been out there that have had netfuls of high quality fish, but because it's just a little bit too small for the EU standards, have to chuck it all back in. They're told you can't bring that in or you'll get fined and your vessel will get compounded for a week for breaching regulations.
So it's okay to chuck it back into Davy Jones's locker because it's dead fish. You know what I mean?
You're just feeding seagulls, aren't you? That's why you get a lot of seagulls on boats, because a lot of the boats are just chucking the fish back in because they're not allowed to bring it. Some boats will obviously try and get back through without getting full, but you've got the EU fishing regulators, the docks, they're going to pull you all in because there's not that many fishing vessels out there now. So the couple that there is are getting checked as soon as they come in.
So we've established many things, right? England we've destroyed a lot of industries. We've destroyed the fishing industry. Thatcher and Scargill and everyone like that destroyed the mining industry, right?
Steel industry's been destroyed.
Car industry.
Steel. Look at the steel industry now. It's not even owned by British people now. It's owned by China.
Yeah. Energy companies, EDF, all the new power stations, they're being built, owned and operated by foreign companies.
The power stations, you see the fucking energy scam, right? So I'm not sure if you live near the coast. I live next to the sea, so we're getting wind farms built. So our energy bills, when we get our letters, it told us a few years ago, your bills are going up 25% to subsidise for the building of the wind farms. When the wind farms are built, you're going to get really cheap electricity.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm waiting for me electric.
If you go onto YouTube and watch the history of nuclear power, right? The reason why we needed we had to go nuclear is because purely and simply was for weaponry. Yeah, because we needed the byproduct of nuclear power to make our nuclear weapons. So we were sold on our idea that if we built nuclear power and went nuclear, we would all get free electricity. Right? And it's common fact. If you look back, there's a YouTube documentary on the whole history of British nuclear power, right? From the conception of it right the way through to where we stand now with all the decommissioning, Sizewell B and all of that, and all the new ones that are being built now. Mate, I live within I say I live within a 30-mile radius of nuclear reactors.
Yeah, I live probably 40 miles away from a big oil refinery. It's like you say, we've got all the capabilities, we've got everything there, but why are we still being charged stupid amounts of money? And this wind farm bullshit, well, it's powered by a generator to make it fucking spin round and then generate power that's not really generated.
But what happens when there's no wind? What about the solar farms? What happens when it's snowing?
Well, this is it.
Right.
Those solar panels take you 20 years to pay off, I reckon, before you get cheap electricity. So who's gonna buy into something that's taking you 20 years to actually see some money coming back?
The only place that these solar and wind places are any good for is your own home. Right?
Yeah, caravans and things like that. Yeah, no, I do agree.
Get them in your own homes, because eventually you make enough and store enough power to run your own house and feed back into the grid. But when they started out all these solar panels, didn't they? These, you know, get solar panels, get on your house for this government scheme. But then it all turned out you could only have these solar panels if they were in a certain array of your house. All right? Well, it's because they don't want you to have them, because they know you could then become self-sufficient and pay for your own fuel.
Well, they did say as well, the Housing Association in my town was going to pass for all their houses, but then the government's the tariff, the feed-in tariff that was given them, suddenly got cut in half, so it wasn't viable. So the government see that everyone wanted to go green, but they was realising that the government's handouts was going to be too much because everyone was taking the subsidies and was going to be taking in that tariff money back from them, so they cut it in half. So they don't want you to go green because they made it non-viable to put a thing on your roof.
Well, it is. Well, it really is. You know, if you can capture any sort of sun, I'd say, you know, it's all well and good at putting them up there, but predominantly southeast facing gardens or southwest facing gardens are all best. But everyone can become self-sufficient electricity wise, but they don't want you to be. That's the point.
Yeah, it's too expensive to become self-sufficient. The only thing is because you was going to be selling it back to the government what you wasn't using, but that was going to pay for it over the long run. But now it doesn't even pay for that, so it's not even self-sufficient.
I think they stopped all new feed-in tariffs or whatever tariffs they've said they were going to give at the higher rate to get everyone to get them. It was never the rates that they said they were going to get.
That's what I mean. So it's not viable. It's not viable now to even get one just to store your own power because it's too much. Unless you go to China and buy one of their versions.
Yeah, but then it's all the wastage then. You got to think, right, those battery packs only got a certain life expectancy, so then you got to swap them out. It's the same as an electric car, mate.
Oh, no, yeah, I'm an electric bike, I know from mine.
Exactly. When you first do it, right, optimally, right, if you look at cycles of batteries, you should never, ever, ever charge your battery up to 100%.
Oh, don't tell me that. That's what put mine up then.
All right. You should keep your battery only up to about 80%, right? And then recharge it when it gets down to about 40%, all right? That's how, all these people that let them go down and up, but if you look at true battery life, yeah, you should never, if you're not going to use a battery, never leave it charged.
Oh, I always leave mine charged as well overnight on my bike.
No, never leave it charged.
Because
I got told your batteries are always discharging it to say, your batteries are always discharging, aren't they? Regardless if you're using it or not.
I got told that why I did that is because I got told the battery has a memory. So if you leave it on 40% for a certain amount of time, when you go to charge it, it'll only ever charge it back up to 40%.
Well, I'm sure as a program, I'm finding the video now.
I mean, I don't know. That's what I got told. That's why I charge mine up constantly at 100%, because I think if I let my battery think that it's only got 80% in it, it'll only charge to 80%.
He said, hang on, e-bike batteries are different. You have to charge it every time. The opposite. Oh, I don't know about e-bikes, but...
Oh, yeah, mine's an e-bike, yeah. I don't know. I suppose I got told. I don't have a clue. I mean, I'm no expert in anything to do with that.
I think it might be just different to solar batteries and shit like that. You only use something like 40% of the capacity anyway. And then they do get life, they only got, I don't know how long life expectancy for batteries are, but then you got to look at the components for wind farms as well. Those big fiberglass blades that are just being buried in landfills because they've got no other way of getting rid of them.
Why can't they just remelt them and make them something else?
No, the big these landfills of batteries and all these Tesla cars, right? The batteries are fucked on them, right? And do you know how much it costs to get a battery swap in a Tesla?
Oh, it's stupid prices, isn't it? Even to get a Tesla service, you're talking about 28,000 a year.
Yeah, well, I think it's about 20 or 30 grand for a battery.
But the battery, you got to remember, right? So I know through my electric battery, if you go full power, so I go 30 mile an hour wherever I go because I'm in a rush where I just don't want to go slow. If I'm going somewhere, I want to get there. So I'm on full power all the time. That battery only lasts me a year before it's properly wearing down. That's another 200 quid battery for a bike.
Yeah. But then you got to remember, right? They all want us to go. We all got to go electric. Got to buy electric cars, electric bikes, electric scooters, electric everything, right? Yeah. We got these little African kids digging up the lithium for us. That's all right, isn't it?
This is why we've got rid of everyone out of Afghanistan. People don't understand the real reason. It's because it's got brilliant of minerals, these new super-powered electric batteries, yeah, but people don't... Because we can't mine it out of the sea, yeah. It's costing too much money to mine out the sea, so after you have the land, it is rich in fucking minerals that are highly worth a lots of money, you know.
Yeah, to future what they call... what is it? The Industrial Revolution, isn't it? Because if you look online, they've got the 4th, 5th, 6th. They got loads. They're up to like the 12th Industrial Revolution and things like that. What they're going to plan to do in future years. It's not up to just the 4th.
Well, like you say, this is the thing. But this is the only thing that's slowing the electric cars is the power. Because, like you say, we've seen them reports before Christmas of everyone queuing in the service stations waiting to charge the car because there's only a few ports.
Yeah, but we were told we're going to get free everything, didn't we? Free power, free Wi-Fi, free internet.
You see how much it costs to charge your car? If it's as much as petrol, it's nearly as much as petrol.
No, it's more as petrol. If you look at the price per mile. Right, because on an average car is a 60-litre tank, yeah, on an average car. So that you probably get. My car is a 60-litre, and it would probably do about 500 miles on that tank. All right. So that would cost me £100 and something to fill up now. How much would it be to fill up our car? Do you reckon? It's gone back down. Well, it's gone back down now. So it's over. It's probably about 90 quid to fill up. Between 90 and 100, right? You look at how many miles you get out of an electric battery, right, to the price you pay for the electric. It's more. It's more.
Well, yeah, you're only getting a couple of hours charge, but you can only go a couple of 100 miles before you need to charge up again. It's costing you 20 quid to get a couple of 100 miles. Yeah. By the time you got to the location, like London or somewhere, like you say, 50 quid down.
Yeah, well, this is it. And then you've got to find a location. So you've got to plan your journeys even more. And in some locations, you can't even get your vehicle charged at or anywhere. So it's all good.
Yeah. I mean, I like the concept of electric bikes and scooters, because they're just to you around town. That's all you need them for. And they're perfect because they can last you a couple of hours. But the car situation is all bollocks, mate.
See, again, you hit the nail on the head, didn't you? They're good around town, aren't they? For the short journeys. What? The 15-minute journeys.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, this is it. This is what they want, isn't it? Because these things are not designed to go further, are they? Or they are, but it's difficult, isn't it? You've got charging stations. You've got to plan it more. But you ain't going to be worried, are you?
They're just banned electric scooters on trains because they're saying there's a risk of fire and shit.
Well, there's no risk of fire. The only risk of fire is when they're plugged into the mains, and that's with everything. Because I know when my battery pack got hot, so I don't know. There is a fire risk with anything.
Well, they've banned them though on the trains now.
Yeah. So what's the point in having them, right? If you can't take them anywhere.
Well, yeah, if you can't use them, even like you're insured, aren't you?
Yeah.
How much does it cost to get insured on a scooter then?
Well, don't nothing, because if you've got a city that runs a scheme, right, it's far easier than then pay what they want because it all comes with it, like the insurance, the number plate, everything legal is included. So that's $45 a month, I think.
What, you got a number plate?
Yeah, there's a number on the back of mine.
What, can it be seen from behind?
Yeah. It's a number that if I did anything wrong and the police contacted the company, that number comes back to me. And if I had an accident, all they have to do is contact the company, right? And as long as I abided by the terms and conditions, I'm covered by the insurance.
What license do you need then? Is it a motorbike license or a full driving?
Hang on a minute. Is it only provisional or full? I can't remember. You had to. I put my full driving license. You have to to really register on these government websites, right? So when you see all these kids riding these scooters, they've either nicked them and re-chipped them, or they've got their parents to use their driving license to hire it, right? So it's down to the parents at the end of the day. But I had to prove my driving license, and I could then go anywhere in the city freely. But there is obviously, it was then mine would in certain places in Bristol I couldn't go through because there were like no ride zones, and as soon as mine picks up anything, like anyone around it, it slows down. It's got it's got LiDAR inside it. But
like we've got Wi-Fi in the lamppost, haven't we? Coming?
Yeah, well. That's already on some lampposts. You got to remember, because 5G is a very narrow band signal, right? It doesn't travel that far. So all these things you're being put on lampposts and things like that are the 5G repeater towers.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's to keep the signal going, isn't it?
It's to keep the signal repeating, and that's why you see a lot of trees being chopped down, right? Because 5G don't pass through trees.
Mental. 5G shit anyway. I had someone who had 5G phone. I was like, oh, is it fast then? I was like, load the website and let me have a look how quick it is. And it was just like, no, the same as my phone.
What did you want, B? Oh, it's too late now. Oh, she wanted to. I don't know. Yeah, well, people use it, don't they? 5G. Everyone's got 5G phone. But the main about it, signal's killing you. Well, like everything killing you, isn't it?
My signal's shit, mate. Not gonna lie.
How's it
I'm
shit?
still getting. I'm not even getting 4G. I'm getting H on my phone. H. What does H mean?
That's like shite, mate. H.
Yeah, I'm gift gaff. I don't know what's
Do you
going
live
on.
inside a Faraday cage or something? Like a building that's got a lot of metal in it?
No, I just live in a flat. Normal house, just been converted into a two up, two down flat.
Well, you must be miles away from the tower then, because H means.
Oh no, the tower's only 2 streets away on a big fucking factory. I live right near the sea.
That's weird.
Gift gaff is just one. This phone as well is a decent.
You just said it, gift gaff.
Yeah, I need to change my network provider, I think.
Yeah.
Well, you seen this thing on YouTube where you can go live and have a guest on it without using StreamYard and that?
Yeah, it's authorized users. So basically, it's called live commentary, isn't it? So if you're live, they can just come straight in.
Yeah, you can put a link out and get guests on as well and let them in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I thought it was all right, decent.
Yeah, but YouTube is like, it's you know, it's a dying platform, and no one's. Yeah, it's all right to use now, and I keep saying it because I keep using it. It's fucking mental. But yeah, use it as to advertising space. Find somewhere else. But then again, I've tried it. You can't get anyone really moving across. It's hard.
Yeah, you have to build an audience on that network. That's already there, don't you?
Yeah, because now, if you do it, you can live stream straight to. If you look, I can live stream straight to Telegram here, to Twitter here like this and bring people in. And anyone can.
Why can you live stream on Telegram?
Yeah.
I thought you just did voices on Telegram. What, you can go live on Telegram?
Yeah, you can go live on Telegram and you can go on live on Twitter.
Yeah, I know you come on Twitter, but you don't. Even though I've got my audience is bigger on Twitter, but my live streams don't get much on Twitter. People are. It's like that's not what the platform's used for.
Yeah.
They like watching videos, but they don't like watching live. Where YouTube's a live streaming platform, I think.
Yeah, YouTube is just that, right? Twitter is more. It's got to be just tweets, art it in, boom. Few words.
Little videos.
Yeah.
If you've got little video clips that do really well, if like you say, they're straight on point and people know what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah, but there is the restriction on Twitter. I don't care what anyone says. There is shadow banning. I don't care.
Oh yeah, there is, yeah.
There's totally shadow banning on everything.
You want to try that Twitter Spaces as well? That's a good one for networking. It's just like a live phone call, like what we're doing now, like a phone call, and it's played out live. You can have up to 10
it's how trustworthy, right, is any of these things? Well, I don't even trust Musk.
We got there, yeah. I think everyone's just playing a game, aren't they?
Well, if everyone's got to think about it, anything you do online, right, doesn't matter. It's like I keep saying, you want to keep anything private, just keep it to yourself, don't tell anybody at all. Right, because once it's out there, it's out there. Right, so it just might as well just keep stum. So anything you do online, there's a trace somewhere, and somebody's got it. Right.
Oh, 100%. You can never delete your online shit because it's always saved somewhere.
So it's back like the places. So you can't really plan anything online, right? This is the thing. The way I'm looking at it, can't really plan doing anything online because powers that be, regardless, we say they've infiltrated everything, right? How do we know that they infiltrated movements and everything? They've infiltrated every aspect of society, right? So how do we organize something? We can't talk about it freely online, right? So how do we communicate? So first and foremost, you've got to find a means of communicating where they all don't know.
Yeah, but then if they all don't know, how do you get people to know? The people that you need to know, because people always backstab you and leak information, won't they? You know what it's like. You know what this circle's like, the right-wing circle. It's more, people are more interested about having a fight with each other, aren't they, than actually fighting for the country.
So I'm not even going to use the words because it's going to paint the wrong picture. Right.
Yeah, go on, use it.
So you have groups, don't you, that work independently of everyone else, don't they? And they do their own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one's not linked to the other one, and the other one's not linked to the other one, but they've all just got the common goal, haven't they? And that's how now it is about infiltrating them now, rather than it is two things. You stand up and fight, right? Bloodshed, but that's only going to get people hurt, and I don't think anybody wants that. Or the only other way now is going to take decades and decades for us to sort this out. Is we infiltrate them and we take it back for not our generation, not our children's generation who are young now, but for their future generations. All right, we got to rebuild. We got to start small now. We got to be taking it back to parents teachers associations, getting on those committees, because this is how I see the left and all these woke organizations has infiltrated society now. They started off at grassroots, didn't they, in schools, and built their way up to government. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course they do. That's how they do it. They know what they're doing, and they can plan. They can all come together for the common cause. We can't, because we've got too many people that have got egos that want to be the leader.
Well, they can be leaders, can't they? They can be leaders in their own town when they drum up support. They get on these councils and things like that. But it's not going to happen now overnight. It's lost. The Trojan horse is in, the Trojan horse is out, and it's being unleashed. Right? Whatever it is. People say it's an army, it's an invasion, it's the Jews, it's the Nazis, it's whoever. Whatever it is, it's happening. Yeah? we can agree on that fact, regardless of what view you say, how it's happening and why it's happening. It's happening, all right? How do you stop that now? And I think the only way you do is either stand up and fight and take it back, like many men have done in the past that fought when we were fighting because we were invaded. All right, so we either do that or we eat the roots and start small again. We can't do it any other ways.
Yeah, yeah, this is it. Well, the fight back started, I believe, across the UK, but I just hope it builds and builds. Like you say, I think we should go to Hale, Cretan, get them villages, drum up support there. You should get out there, mate, and get to these fucking areas as well, mate.
Yeah, I know, but lots of things prevent me.
Why? What do you mean? Sorry, what do you mean?
Oh, mate, I'm not gonna get into it because I get the fucking bleeding heart lefty people going, oh, look, he's going on about that again. Oh, look, I'm just me. I've got my own problems in life, right? But mainly, I can't walk far. I can't get out like I used to anymore.
Yeah, I remember, anyway, when we was on that beach, I didn't realise, like you say, he was knackered, wasn't you, after a bit, and I was thinking, shit, I didn't realise he had one lung, and I took him out about 2 miles out to sea, nearly. That was a long, hard trek, wasn't it?
Mate, I do what I can do, but it's hard to get out and about, because, but when you're in the city of where I live, if I go out on my own, I'm a target all the time. And I've been a target, and I'm fed up of being a target now.
Go out your area then to up Kent area. There's absolutely loads of hotels. I'm planning on going back down and doing a little thing around all the hotels up there. It needs doing this because there's a big tower block, the old courthouse in Broadstairs, being changed, and I think that's full of migrants now.
It was a bit like It's got too big, and I think it's too late, because you were covering this years ago, right? Years and years ago, and no one wanted to know because it's not in my backyard. Now, you've got these little rural areas are going, oh, hang on a minute, this is a bit wrong. But it's got too big, because I don't think you can stop it now, because lots of laws were being put in place to stop local authorities from stopping it. All right. How many? I've been to a meeting. I watched that meeting the other night. That they all attend. They give the same speech. They're all hard done by. They come from war-torn countries. All right. It's the same speech. They said the same thing. Government said we've got no choice in the matter. We've got no redress. Well, no redress means to me there's no recourse, is there? There's like it or lump it. So what left is there to do? Right.
Well, civil war's the only way we stop it, isn't it? Because if they're gonna keep flooding us and people are gonna keep coming out en masse, it's only gonna get bigger, and it's only just gonna create more violence on the street if no one listens.
Yeah, but then we got all the because there is legitimate, regardless how you see migration into the country, the opinions of people have on it is, I don't want a closed border. Make that clear. There's people that I know are here that would stop migration, full stop, end of, don't come in, right? But the sad reality is that's never going to happen. We need a tighter control on it, all right? You speak out about any sort of net migration or anything like that, you're racist. Why don't you want migration? Why don't you want them to come here to better themselves? That's all well and good, isn't it? Yeah, come here, better yourself. I'm all for that. All right, but they're not. And the sad fact is the majority are not. And there's not enough jobs for us anyway.
Well, so if we can't, we need to better ourselves before we can let anyone else come in and better themselves. If we've got over 300,000 people that hasn't got a property, that are living in temporary accommodation, homeless, or in B&Bs, but yet we can still house 50,000 migrants in hotels, no problem, and we can take up all the empty properties and put migrants in first. And we've got a problem. It's not about race. It's not about saying, "Oh, you're racist because you don't want this." You just want to put your people first. End of.
Well, yeah, this is the sad reality, because I've had it with me. I've said, you know, why don't you put these homeless people up in the hotels as well? And I've had these lefties from my local groups come back at me and say, well, there is lots of homeless charities within Bristol, this, that, and the other, and does good. And I'm thinking, well, if there is a lot of homeless charities in Bristol, why are these people still on the streets?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
The thing is, a lot of homeless charities. That's a word, charities. Why is it taking charities to help our homeless? Why can't our government do it? And you're right. You know why there's still homeless on the street? Because these charities that are helping the homeless, that got the shelters, yeah, the shelters are overrun by the high dependency drug and alcohol violent ones. Yeah. And the people that are still on the street don't want to go into them hostels, right? Because they don't want to be manipulated, they don't want to be bullied, and they don't want to get a drug addiction.
Well, there's lots of different things. There's a few. There's some people that you know like to live on the street. All right, they do live in my town. Yeah. There's a few in my town. They can go out and they got perfectly good accommodation they can go to, but they just choose to live on the street for some bizarre reason. That's them. All right, but there's difference between intentional. I like living on the streets and being genuinely homeless. But I just seem to think is we're just helping the wrong people.
We are helping the wrong people, mate. Fucking but that's our country. That's what people thrive on, because we're a Christian country and we help thy neighbour. Yeah, we help thy neighbour in our own country. We don't help neighbouring countries until we've helped our own.
Look, I think it's quite I've been to hotels, right, where the migrants there are reported that they're beaten, the security are heavy-handed towards them. They're moved. And like you said, it makes perfect sense to me now, is why you said they're moved every so many days because of council tax reasons and things like that. And they were reporting to me that they're being moved all the time. But once they start speaking out, now, I got a video, right? People see the guy, he was an Albanian guy, he looked Albanian, all right? He was being manhandled by police outside the hotel in Frenchy in Bristol, and I've got the video footage that a migrant sent to me, right? But the backstory behind that is they were moving him out of that hotel, and they were moving him out of that hotel is because he spoke to me on a few days previous, all right? And they moved him out. Ali, the other guy that I filmed that had loads of cuts over his stomach, looked like, a lot of it was self-inflicted, but he's saying, the food was shit, this, that, and the other, and the way they're treated is appallingly by the staff. Right? He was then subsequently moved out. I think he was actually in prison. He sent me photographs of him being released from prison, and now I don't know where he is. Don't know.
What was he in prison for?
For the disturbance, because he kicked off at the hotel when they were trying to move him, and they remanded him in prison for something. I don't know. Yeah,
he then should have been deported, surely. Then if he committed a crime.
I don't know. I don't know what happened, because they're so moved from pillar to post. Well, I don't know what's true. I don't know what's going on inside the hotels at all. But all I do see is, I know I shouldn't, there are homeless people and they are being fed, but the food is shit in these hotels. All right? If we're subsidising all this money, 7 million, 8 million pound a day for this hotels, and that's for their food and thing, and looking at the food they're getting is only really cold food.
That's the hotel managers. Let me tell you one thing, right? In the hotel that I went on the roof, yeah, they have got a top chef that goes to the top halal butchers and cooks them the top halal meals.
Right, that might be different hotels, but in every hotel I've been, I've only just seen like sandwich wrap meals and things like that.
I've been to them hotels as well. That's what I mean. It depends on who's running these hotels. If it's for profit or if it's genuinely, because Hull's a city of sanctuary area, they've got to give extra, aren't they? If you're not in a city of sanctuary, there's no care for you.
No, and Bristol is a city of sanctuary as well.
Well, then again,
Anyway.
if Bristol is a city centre and you're getting fed shit, though, aren't they? So that doesn't make sense, really. But then just greedy, then.
Well, it is. It's private businesses that own all these hotels. You know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. They shouldn't even be getting the basics. Yeah, I mean, they should only be getting basics. Like, if you're in jail, you get a fucking sandwich pack. You get a banana and a sandwich. Get a tea on a Saturday and a Sunday. You know,
Yeah, but you are given hot food though, regardless if it's shit or not. You are given hot, whether or not you eat it.
Only one meal on the weekend, hot, and only dinner on the weekend. The tea's cold meal.
I don't know. I've never been to jail, mate.
Yeah. And just to put it into perspective, I mean, I probably could go to the shop and buy something to eat, but I just had a packet of noodles and crisps for my dinner, and I had a hot toasted Dairy Lee cheese slice bun because I live the high life. But I'm not complaining. I'm not trying to get no left-wing lawyers say, look, I need more money to get like fatter buns. And,
well, they were given. I only found out the other day, but this was back in early December or maybe November that they got a 10% increase in what they were getting.
Well, yeah, they took it to court, didn't they? And the judge ruled in their favour that I want enough, and then they just given basic toiletries as well as other stuff.
Yeah, that's mental.
You know what I mean? Is anyone going to take the case for an homeless person to court and say, "Can we do anything for him? Can we get him a bigger cardboard box, maybe?" You know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing. This is what I don't understand, right? At all. Is why is the vast amount of money being spent on them and not on our own crisis? And mind you, NHS officials met at Whitehall yesterday to discuss the NHS in the future because it's on its fucking knees. Sorry.
This is it. You know you're going to be paying for the NHS more with national insurance in the budget. What's going to be announced? You know what I mean?
No, because there isn't going to be an NHS. All right. There will be. It'd be modelled on you because you have to remember who came over during our lockdown and things like that to discuss in Whitehall about NHS, and I think that was a final looking at the model for the how the American system works for medical treatment, whereby there will be medical care whereby limited for the impoverished, like the ones on benefit. So there will be an NHS, but the majority of working people, either your employer will have to provide you some sort of medical insurance within your contract, or you have to buy some family insurance and pay into private medical, right? Majority now, if you've got any sort of money now, I'd say majority of people pay private anyway.
Yeah, they do. You're right. I know a lot of people that go private.
Yeah, and NHS services, a lot of it is subbed out privately anyway because they wanted to get the waiting list down. And we got to remember, right? Most of the top NHS surgeons, right, only do a couple of days in their NHS hospitals. Yeah. Then they go up to these private clinics at Bupa and all these health centres, these private surgeries, perform NHS treatment, right, in their circumstances, in their arena, and they charge vast amount of money for it. So they're asset stripping the NHS and working for the NHS at the same time.
Oh yeah, man, you can opt on some occasions. You can opt to go to the private hospital for your NHS treatment.
Yeah. If you wait on the waiting list too long, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like crazy thought. But then you go to the private treatment, and it's your NHS fucking doctor doing the treatment.
My wife was the same. She had shoulder surgery. She's seen the doctor at the NHS hospital, and she was waiting so long, and she said, "I want it done on privately." He then referred. What was it? Yeah. Yeah.
And I was referred to him. He works for the NHS.
That's it. Everything's beat down though.
As in Spire Hospital.
Yeah. And you went up to Spire and had it done.
I never asked for it.
No.
He said I needed surgery.
Yeah.
And I said I wasn't too sure about it. And because I said I wasn't too sure about it, he offered me private Spire treatment
Done by him.
Done by him in the Spire, overnight stay with food and everything, paid for by the NHS.
Yeah. So he actually said to her, "Oh, we'll do it up the Spire quicker."
That was my first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had me booked in for Southmead and I refused to go.
Yeah.
He then sent me an appointment through to go back to the Spire to have it done again, and I went.
Oh, that was right. That was the second time she had 2 done at the Spire, and the NHS paid for both. Well, you're talking more than what it would have cost on the NHS for him to walk in a separate building, and that's only for him to perform exactly the same surgery in a different building.
No, so he's been paying twice to perform his job because he should have performed it in an NHS hospital, but then he's been paid again to go to the private hospital to treat you.
Yep.
This is what I mean. The NHS is being manipulated. You can take billions off the NHS bill overnight for people that don't actually need items on the prescription that have just been getting them constantly that don't realise they don't need them.
Well, you look at that couple, right? Who's now, well, they're mega rich now because they cashed in on the PPE. You see the pictures of them Christmas sunning themselves. I don't know, as some sort of Dominican beach somewhere. You know, laughing and smiling. They cashed in on it. It's madness. I tell you, it was all down to greed.
Greed is everything, though, isn't it? It's money's the root to all evil. If you never had anything, if you're like me and you, never had no money, you don't crave for anything. I don't crave for nothing. If I can't afford to do it, it's just like I can't afford to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but things get worse because you got to look. If we lived in a society where society did help people, but they do help people, but they don't help them enough to give them a leg up to become self-sufficient, because it is all about not being self-sufficient anymore. They broke it up. I went to school where there was no divorced children at all. We all had a mum and a dad. You go to a school now.
I was going to say, you get called a bastard if you didn't have a fucking mum, if you didn't have a dad back in the day.
Yeah, she did. You grew up with a mum and a dad at home who loved each other, and they brought you up with values. But now the government frowned upon it, didn't they? They were, you know, all these single mums cottoned on. They get more money if they had a kid. Chuck the dad out, right? Then the government's going to pay him everything. Going to pay council tax, housing benefit, everything.
This is a safe route to everything. When you look at the breakdowns, it's a breakup of a stable house. Yeah. When you look at the kids don't have a dad growing up yet, and they've got just a mum growing up yet, and they wonder why these kids turn out feral or resentful because they've never had the father figure showing them the manly things and showing them how to respect women, showing them how to respect others. You know, you've only had a mum there that's too busy trying to be in love with the next man down the street to care about you, and you be in the garden on a trampoline with a sandwich, playing with your mates and just look to your own devices. You know what I mean?
Well, I didn't see my dad Monday to Friday. He was out working. It was me mum that brought us up. But if I still had a dad at the weekends.
Yeah, that's it. You're scared of your dad, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your dad had authority, didn't he? You know what I mean? Nowadays, the kids don't. If your dads tell them to stop doing something, they turn around to the dad and probably say, "Fuck off," or "Kick fuck out of you."
Exactly.
It turned, didn't it? Late 90s, everything turned. Well, middle 90s, everything turned. Everyone rebelled.
See, it was a bit different, right? When I got brought up, we had standards and values, right? It was never... I had one real rule in my house is don't show the family up when you're out in public, right? End of story. Anything else went. Well, what goes on behind closed doors and things like that, that's your home life. That is, but it's how, you know, I bought, you know, my dad was like that. If I said something wrong, yeah, he'd belt me. But was that child abuse? Is it? No. I did something wrong and I needed a short, sharp shock.
My mum used to have a skull, that hard plastic slip-on shoe. If you got caught with a back of that on your fucking ass getting chased up the stairs on the night time, you'd know about it.
It used to be when I was a kid, don't back chat me. Don't back chat me. Remember, my elder sister, right? She got caught smoking. Right? And my dad made her eat it. Right? And what made it worse is because she asked her, could she have some salt and vinegar with it? That made it 10 times worse. Hello.
Oh, I was once living at home as a 16-year-old, and I had a girlfriend there at the time, and we had a laser pen, and some bungalows was behind us. Yeah, it was really late at night, and you could see the old couple in the bungalow, and she was shining a laser pen at the old people in the bungalow. They were doing kids, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, it's gone midnight. You had a big bang on the door. It's the fucking old people from the bungalow. You can hear them footsteps crashing up the stairs. Your girlfriend hides under the covers, right? Chucks a laser pen on you just as the door opens. Bang, caught her eye. You know? You shit your pants back in the day, your mum and dad, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had that rule as well, BCTV. We had that rule, never say what goes on here or you are done.
You just have to go to your next door, but one neighbours, didn't you, to get a 50p for the electric meter because you never had 50p pieces.
Really?
My dad caught me smoking out the bedroom window, and all he said to me was, "Give me your fag." That was it. You don't make somebody fucking eat.
Oh, that was back in the day. You're talking back in the 1970s.
What's that, sorry?
Oh, I'm talking to B. It's about smoking.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't me, though, anyway. See, well, that's the problem, wasn't it? That was a problem for the millennials, wasn't it? Well, there you go. You got whacked. Well, that was the difference, wasn't it? You could always get away with it with your mum. Well, yeah, that was the same with me.
I could never get away with it with my mum.
Oh, my mum was easy, but she always used to tell my dad. And that's who you were afraid of.
My mum was hard as fuck, mate. I was more scared of my mum than my dad.
No, definitely my dad. It was like my mum I used to get up on a Saturday morning as a kid, and my mum used to give me my sandwiches and used to tell me to fuck off. Come back at tea time.
Well, I mean, my mum was great, but I mean, if she put her skull in her hand, you'd really pissed her off, and if you knew you pissed her off,
you deserve it. You better run.
Yeah, you better run fast.
Yeah, I only got it when I deserved it. That is funny.
I only got hit a couple of times because I wasn't stupid enough to make that mistake again. But you know what? When you got that fucking skull coming at you, it's like, no, thanks.
That's mental. My stepmom used to lie about me to dad, and he was a gullible idiot. What, that you done something and you didn't? Hello, Vanished. How's the van? You need to get back down south in your van.
Who's that?
Vanished.
I don't know who that is.
He's got like one of these super traveller vans.
Someone's got a mission from hotel to hotel living in his van.
It's madness, though. It is. I love it because you can see it, right? All my windows are closed. All the trickle vents are sealed up, right? Because my house leaks heat. Yet when I go to all these hotels, the windows are wide open. Mental.
Yeah, because they've got fucking free bills, haven't they? Because they can afford to.
Well, this is it, right? When we're paying extortionate prices for energy, you ought to tell Ash Yorkshire Rose to start counting the windows that are open because of, the energy. The vast amount of energy they're consuming. Whose expense? Who's paying the bills? We are. We're paying their heating bills, for fuck's sake. And we can't heat our own houses. Is that not the truth?
It is. Well, that's it. We've got a cost of living crisis. Like you say, old people are scared to even turn the gas on. You know what I mean? Everyone's sat in their house in layers of clothes because they don't want to switch the heating on. So, right.
Heat yourself, not the room.
Well, the thing is, I've got an electric blanket wrapped around me now, so I'm heating myself. I've had my heating on once in this house since I've had the new boiler. Yeah, and I only did it 2 or 3 weeks ago because I needed to do some washing, and my pile of washing was getting that high because outside weather was that shit. I couldn't dry it, So I thought, I'm going to switch my heating on. I had £3.46 gas, and then my cunt for checking everything because I'm a tight get, yeah. And I put the heating on. 2.5 hours later, my electric had gone. My gas had gone. £3.46. My clothes weren't even dry. What the fuck?
I swear the meters are on the fiddle though, I'm telling you. Because they've
My
now
meters are
they must be preempting something because each we're on our gas meters prepay, so like we're fucked on that.
Yeah,
anyway,
so you're paying 55p a day like me, just
service
for standing
charge.
charge.
Yeah, but if they've now it went from £5 emergency to £10 emergency, right? It's now they will give us £30 emergency. What are they trying to tell me? Is there going to be?
They can't. Well, do you know what they do to me? Do you know my emergency? Do you know what fucks me off the most? Right, is my gas. If I've got credit, it'll drink it in one day. So say I had £3.50. If I had £3.50 in gas and I run one bath because I don't have my heating on, or the only reason I use my gas is to run a fucking bath. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I have one bath, the next day I'll have £1. So I get 2 baths out of this £3 on gas, yeah, because it's taking a 50p a day surcharge.
Yeah.
When I'm on the emergency, it does not take the surcharge off you.
No, it does.
It
does. It builds it up as a debt, and when you top up again, it puts the emergency back on, and then it says this is taken for debt, and that debt is always the service charge.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. So when I use my emergency, it's using a different emergency. Will last me, that £10 can last me up to a month, yeah? And then when I go to pull that £10 on, I owe it 30 fucking quid in debt.
Yeah, because you haven't paid the service charge on that debt.
Yeah, but it's bullshit. I should only be paying for the gas I'm using.
No, but but people don't notice it, right? I watch it. You can see it. When it comes down, dead on midnight, boom, you can see 55p. Mine's 55p service charge, I see. Is it 55p?
Yeah, I think mine is.
Some at 50 something, and you see it, boom, and that's what you're straight away. And that's service charge on your electric, but then you've got service charge on your gas as well. I'm telling you, it's Robin.
My electric, right, I used to put £10 a week top, yeah, because I'm a tight cunt and I don't have no. The only thing I is my electric blanket in the winter, so all I'm doing is charging phones, yeah. So you put £10 max a week on them in a flat. The government gives you £66 out there every month for your electric. I am using that £66 every month without a doubt, but yet I'm not using no electric.
Oh, mate, I wish you know what I mean? I use loads. I'm in debt in electric, but I don't give a fuck. They can accrue that. They can, you know what I mean? They can't get what I ain't got. Anyway, so that's, you know what I mean? They can't cut me off because I got kids.
Oh, not bothered me. If it gets to the point where I can't afford my electric, I'll just get a wire out and I'll get it for free. I'm not arsed. I don't care about the government. No, I don't. Honestly, mate, I'm past that stage now.
It is getting to the point when everyone else is struggling. And there's clearly people taking the piss in this country. Clearly. We need to sort a lot of things out before we start sorting a lot of other things out.
No, so there's too much shit going on in this country. But like you say, we need to get a grip of it all.
I don't miss a key meter. Our gas is only on a key meter. Our electricity isn't. Thank God. They'll try and get us on a prepayment meter, I'm sure, because we've accrued a debt, so they might start trying to force that fact. Yeah, but even though you've agreed to pay it back, they can sometimes try and force you into having a Is it? All right. Okay.
Yeah, they will. If you've got a debt, they'll try and put prepayment meter in.
Yeah. Because that's what they want everyone eventually, isn't it? Because they can't cut me off electricity because I've got kids. But if I have a prepayment meter and I run out of electricity, that's a different matter.
Yeah. See how they apply through the courts, because they're not allowed to apply through the courts for a warrant unless they believe you're tampering with your meter and there's a danger as fire and danger, yeah? So that's how they'll get the warrant. They'll think, we believe he's tampering his meter because he hasn't paid his bill or you know, something like that. and then they can come then with the police and get into the property. And once they're in, they'll change your meter.
It's a bit like it's like with anything. If you got a tenancy, a landlord can't enter your property unless he gives you 48 hours notice or whatever's agreed on your tenancy. But he can enter your property if there's an immediate danger, i.e. flooding, immediate danger to life. He then can let himself in. It's the same thing how they apply it under the Gas Act. They go to a court and say, oh, yeah, he hasn't paid his bill, right? We haven't got a meter reading or anything like that. We think he's tampered with the gas, and under the regulation, it's because, it's a danger. It can potentially blow up a street, certainly blow up the house, couldn't it? So that's how they get around the law. Whether or not a police officer, because I've seen plenty of police officers that attend in and actually drill out locks themselves. They've come with firearms, which is quite bizarre. Police officers are not allowed to get involved in a civil dispute. So you've now got police officers involving themselves in a civil court matter.
Yeah, because they try and say it becomes a public order matter, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Well, public order, and then you've got armed officers turning up and then coming out with crowbars trying to gain entry to a property.
I know, yeah, but yet they're calling the police for breach of the peace, but they're at your property breaching your peace, but the police will come and protect them under the fucking law.
The breach is already been broken the moment that locksmith attempts to drill the lock out. That is the breach of the peace. So they affect a breach of the peace to arrest on breach of the peace. That's where how they circumvent the law. But it's unfortunate.
Well, they prevent the breach of the peace. That's just made up. Anyone can think that you're about to breach the peace and can arrest you to prevent you from breaching the peace. But who's making a judgment on whether or not they believe you're going to prevent the breach of peace? I don't know. The laws are made up to protect themselves more than out. But you try and use the laws, I don't know, not the way they were set out to be. Have I lost you?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, no, you're all right. Yeah, I'm just checking on my phone, make sure I had some battery power in it.
No. I just don't. It's just all going madness, isn't it? I've done now, nearly 4 hours.
I'm really fucking hell. Let the shops close and let's get some food, darling.
Yeah, I need to get off because
yeah, it's good chatting to you.
Yeah, all good. But I think there's other ways that need to be done. I don't know how it's all going to cure it.
I lost contact with you before through Bradford because my phone got touched. I ain't got your number. That's why I can't contact you.
Right.
But I do want to sort France if you want to go, because I'm dying to go, but I just don't want to go on my own. I want people to actually come and try and help me. Not help me, but try and do what we all set out to do, which was uncover how easy it is that side and try and stop it.
Well, I think over there needs to be highlighted more because obviously you see it. You've seen it once on the mainstream and nobody's really batted an eyelid. That don't really stir anything, really. And all you've seen is all it did see is that you've seen the French tourist walking on the beach and he says, let him go. Why are you stopping them? You know what I mean? So the French are giving us the big up yours, yet we're giving them millions to stop it on our behalf. Well, they're not stopping it, so we need to stop it.
That's it, yeah, stop boats, I agree. 100%.
Totally. On that note.
I will let you get off, mate.
All right, Active, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Anytime. Just because you got my number now anyway, haven't
you?
I
got it. I'll save it in, dude.
All right, nice one, mate. Catch you later.
All right, catch you later. Bye. Bye. That was Active. There you go. Gone now. Woo. Wow. I wasn't going to be on this long. It's a bit... Whatever... I think people think whatever views are now, I disagree with Active on some things regarding immigration and how it starts. You know, but we all got to be agreed on one fact. What's happening, it's got to be stopped, really, and it's getting to a point now. Is when we're full, when are we full? You know, it's whatever people think on migration. It's got to stop one way or another, or tighter controls need to be put into place. So let me just try and find something. My computer's running slow. I don't know how far behind it would actually run this. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I had a few donations. I'm sorry about Stream Elements. I'm going to have to sort it out. I'm going to get on there now. I thought I went, the last time I went on there, it's like when people mention certain keywords, it does trigger a Stream Element. So it does trigger the bot to say certain things. Right? So I thought I set it in a way now that it won't fire when everyone mentions a certain word. It would only fire once and then leave it for a certain amount of time before firing again when somebody mentions a word. But someone's just mentioned the word donation again, I think, and it's going to fire, or was that ages ago? I don't know. So I do apologise for Stream Element. I think Swift did say stop putting the word donate in the chat because the bot is firing it. So appreciate Active coming on. We need to find a way to stop it, and like I said, two ways only, is we infiltrate from within, or this fight, isn't it? And I don't want to do the latter. I certainly don't want to do the latter. But I don't think it's an overnight problem, because I think the government is so far for it and wanting it to continue, then it's not going to stop. It's too profitable, isn't it? Because we're not just looking at all the hotels that's being brought, we're looking at how much money is made from the legal migration coming in with all the students and their families and this, that and the other. You know, what money's being made off of them. You know, and then all the companies, the backhanders given, because we all know the way this world works is it's worked on is not what you know, it's who you know and whose palm you grease. Backhanders is done, and you know, it happened throughout PPE. How do we know that it's not being done throughout this whole immigration? Serco's heavily involved, and we know where Serco comes from, don't we? All these little things that add up to the big things, isn't it? We might be making the little things seem trivial, but they're not. It all adds up to the bigger picture. Is why? Because it's down to the money, isn't it? It's down to the green. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining me. Until the next time, goodbye.